Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please do not adjust your sets. It is the same captain, just with about, 2 years less hair. Thank you for joining us. It is playoff weekend, super wild card weekend where every game is a blowout and nobody really gives two flying fucks. While I'm happy with two of the blowouts, cheers to the Pack and the Texans, Cowboys. Oh my God. You guys fucking suck. Miami Dolphins, you need some things. But in any event, we are here to hopefully see what we thought was going to be the best game of this playoff round. It is the Lions and the Rams, the game where we most disagreed when we made our picks. That we had 2 for the Lions, 2 for the Rams. So this is the one that we're going with.
Our special guest for the night, Stat Boy Mike from the Jeff Meacham Network. He can actually be our tiebreaker before the game kicks off. Who are you going?
I have said all season, this is the season where I want to put Detroit at the top of my power rankings. They didn't quite get there, but at least they got to the playoffs against LA, against Stafford and his former team. I'm the tiebreaker. I'm going with the Lions.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And we have our usual cleanup hitter, Davey.
In a different environment, it looks like.
What's up?
Welcome to the stream, brother. And while we're here, before the game kicks off, Stat Boy, go ahead.
Sure.
Really introduce yourself to our audience, as this is your debut on the channel.
Okay, good. Well, I am Statboy Mike. You can find me on Twitter at LBStatKid1977. You can find me every Tuesday, somewhere between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Jeff Meacham Network and the Casa D18 Studios as I present Statboy Sports Bar with my best friend, Dory Lou. We come every week and we talk about everything in sports, be it football, hockey, basketball. If it's in sports, I report it. So what I do is I throw out the numbers. I play with them constantly. I might be doing that during this game. I'll let you know because I want to know how many yards a player has. So that's what I'll be doing this game.
All right.
Stat Boy Mike, I'm glad to meet you. I'm getting a bit of a weird echo.
I think the echo might be from Davey because we got it from him whenever he came in.
Okay. Stat Boy Mike, pleased to meet you. Welcome to RAWBall. I am the Cap. These are the 1 and 1 of ones, and that is Dave McKinnon, the Nostradamus of Nova Scotia.
Got it.
Hey, caramba. What a freaking afternoon. Right now I'm watching Eminem introduce this thing. Hey, Davey, check your audio. We've been getting some interference since you hopped in here.
May have to switch this over. Bear with me a sec.
No worries. Take your time. And Stat Boy, Devin did have a question for you.
Go ahead, sir.
What's your football team?
He's wearing it.
Officially, I'm a bandwagon guy.
Isn't that a Ravens hat?
No, this is a Predators hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have jumped on the Dallas bandwagon for the last maybe 3 or 4 years because of Jeff and the network and all that. But this house that I live in is also a Vikings house. So I'm back between the Vikings and Cowboys. When I was growing up, I was a Ram because I was born in Los Angeles. So that's where my roots are. So I usually go with, I say I'm a Ram by who's ever winning. I follow them. But I'm right now, I'm pulling for the Lions because they deserve to get this. But I truly do not have a team. So I'm just bouncing around team by team.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Of course, I expected this very early. Ray Williams.
Let me tell you about this guy right here who's just commenting, okay? He came in. He's coming to our network a lot, And don't get me wrong, he's not a bad guy, but if he was on my show right now and on that, I'd be calling him out left and right. Leave Mike McCarthy alone. The word that we bash Bill Belichick enough on that on our channel. I'm putting Bill Belichick to bed this week. Okay, he's done in New England. I get it. I'm done with Bill Belichick.
Come on, Magamo, you can do it.
Wherever he decides to go, as long as he does not touch Dallas, as long as he does not touch Minnesota, I could care less where he goes. Thank you.
I don't think Belichick's going to another cold climate. I think he's going somewhere warm.
By the way, Stat Boy, that's our RAWBall mascot.
One of the mascots.
Yeah, it's my 3-year-old boxer. Her name is Maggie. And
Maggie the super pup.
yeah, she's 100 pounds of pure just love bug couch potato. But anytime Daddy has food up here, she is just in beggar mode.
Got it.
She's either eating, sleeping, or pooping, and there's not a whole lot in between in her schedule. As you can see behind me, Cap is a
big baseball guy.
I'm the resident baseball lunatic.
I got you.
But my football team is the Raiders.
Right.
My baseball team is the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
We got kickoff.
Yep.
And the Lions want to receive and get this. They want to get in and out and be done.
Dev, I hate to show you this over the air, but Cap made fried chicken tonight.
Ooh, I love fried chicken.
With a little bit of hot and spicy barbecue sauce.
There you go. Right up the middle. Already showing their dominance.
Nothing like good fried chicken.
You bet.
Oh, there's nothing like a good fried chicken.
Do an overnight brine and buttermilk with some onion peel and garlic cloves. Let that sit overnight. Season up the meat. Toss it in some seasoned flour, into some peanut oil, 400 degrees. Oh, baby.
I'm coming over
Pair
to
that with some mashed potatoes and green beans. And would you look at this?
As somebody who's had Cap's food, I would not blame you, Stat Boy, for going over to his place.
There you go.
Stat Boy, where are you located?
Sevier County, Tennessee.
Sevier County. Okay. I'm familiar with that area. I got a very good friend who lives in Nashville.
Yep.
Good friend, a.k.a. the bane of the fucking RAWBall Fantasy Football League.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've known the poor bastard since I was 5 years old, and I just turned 37. So he would have to commit some kind of very atrocious act for me to disown him.
Yeah, my fantasy football league season died. It was a disaster. I didn't keep up with it. I fell behind. I'm probably not going to dip my toes in that pool ever again.
It's understandable, especially if you have a lot of other things going.
Oh, yeah.
Cap won his first championship since 2018.
There it goes. Oh, right up the middle. Beautiful.
I was the bane of the consolation bracket this year.
Davey is the bane of Twitter.
Really?
Davey has as many blockers as he does followers.
Oh.
But everyone who blocks Davey is pretty much
You've earned it.
that's a them problem, because for Davey to block you, you have to be so absolutely atrociously coherent and incompetent that you've earned it.
You've gotten yourself to that door yourself.
You open that door.
Oh shit!
My friend, if you've got blockers and you're blocking people, you're doing something right.
Hell yeah!
Absolutely. I mean, you can have all the praise and all the positivity in the world, but you can't deny the existence of one without the other. You know, you got up goes the down.
I've yet to be blocked, and I've yet to block anybody. So right now I'm
I got blocked by an Impact Wrestling super fan, and I'm assuming it's because of my shit talk about the Young Bucks.
I got blocked by the Singh brothers.
How did you get blocked by them?
All right, I'll give you the story. What I normally do is I write books from wrestlers. I've got a book on John Cena. I've got a book on Billy Gunn. So I started writing a book on AJ Styles, and around this time, it was probably in maybe it was in maybe 2018, 2019, 2020. His 100th televised match was against one of the Singh brothers. So I put a tweet out there. Tonight on Raw, it's AJ's 100 match against Sunil Singh. What a disappointment. Those were my exact words. Next thing I know, the Singh brothers are like, no, what's disappointing is your stats. Nobody cares. I tried to reply. You have been blocked by the Singh brothers. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. My first block. Hey, happy.
Jeez, I've had a mother-in-law put a gun to my head for less than that.
It sounds to me like you were just essentially speaking the truth on what you felt on the match.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a milestone match in my opinion. And
Yeah.
If it's your 100th match, you don't want a mid-carder, you don't want a jobber. You might want to get it. Like if LA Knight was in the WWE when AJ Styles first showed up, put them together in a match. That would have been a powerful one. Nope. Instead, you get the Singh brothers.
Yeah.
So Stat Boy's first block is a very justifiable one.
Did he get in? Is he in? Is he in? No,
I
he's
think
not
he's just a bit short.
in. Yep.
I haven't even been blocked by my worst enemies yet, so I must.
Wow.
Touchdown Lions.
Davey, are you ahead of us?
Hungry. I'm
I would
always
believe
ahead
he
of
is.
you. I'm in Canada. I'm ahead of all of you.
I've got 9:45 on the clock left as the clock runs down in the first quarter.
Okay, maybe in a parliamentary sense, but in a live sporting broadcast sense, come on, give us something.
9:30 left in the first. Montgomery up the middle with a 1-yard touchdown.
There it is. 9:30. Yep, you got it.
See, that's why I got that Nostradamus name attached to me.
Touchdown Lions. And it only took 6 minutes.
But like I've said on this broadcast in previous episodes, the Lions have a distinct habit of getting up early
Yep.
and then letting the teams back in.
Hence why I think this is going to be a Rams victory, because the Rams, in my opinion, have better personnel. And no disrespect to Campbell, the Rams are better coached.
How can you say they've got better personnel whenever the top two wide receivers on their team, other than Kupp, were people that broke out this year?
But they did
Because they have Kupp and two guys who broke out this year. Also a hell of a running back and a really damn good quarterback, a good offensive line, probably one of the top 4 or 5 head coaches in all of football, at least from an offensive point of view. I've liked this Rams team all year.
I know you have.
Has nothing to do with the fact that he had Kyron Williams on his team. But
Absolutely nothing to do with that.
No.
I also used to enjoy drinking Drano, but not everything works out for you. I'm more than willing to admit ignorance as well as an amputated lower intestine. But hey, you do what you can in this world. Just like Frank said in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. How does anything happen? You just move past it. Magamo, are you wanting more biscuit? Jesus Lord, puppy.
More biscuit.
You've got a vet appointment in 2 weeks. You want to walk in there looking like this? You know what she's going to say? She's going to get you on the scale. She's going to be like, hey, why has she put on this much weight? Hey, I don't know.
I'm not used to watching things with commercials.
Wait till the Super Bowl.
We launched the network with the Super Bowl last year, and trust me, we got a lot of ads. Not advertisers. We just got a lot of ads.
Yeah.
Commercials.
Advertisers are still a ways off.
You guys would never have survived the 80s.
Fortunately, I was born in '87, so I only had to deal with 3 years.
I was
3
a
years of the
teenager
80s.
through the 80s. We had like four channels. One of them was French,
Yep.
and no remote.
Yep.
Good God.
The struggle
no
was
remote.
the
See,
struggle
which was
in
the
fact
greatest thing if you were a dad in that era, because you didn't need a remote if you had a child. You would just say, "Hey, Johnny
Oh, no,
Jr., get up and turn the channel for me."
real. Oh no, I was the remote, and sometimes rabbit ears. Too.
Davey was Johnny Jr.
Yeah.
Wait, his name's not Johnny.
All right. Rams or
You
Lions
trying to
kick
pull a
off.
fast
Rams
one on me?
Rams Lions kick off. Rams get the ball. 1st and 10 on their own 25.
Hey, somebody remind me. The Baltimore Ravens rented out a yacht, didn't they?
I haven't heard that.
Did they pull an Odell New York Giants Michigosh from about half a decade ago, where they all went on a yacht and then got absolutely obliterated in the playoffs?
I did see a picture of the yacht. Yeah, I didn't hear anything after the yacht, so I don't think anything really happened.
The only boating related story I know of was, I think, the last time Brady won with the Bucks and he had the Lombardi trophy on a boat, and somebody threw the trophy to him, or he threw the trophy to somebody else on a neighboring boat, and I'm like, if that thing hits the water, it's gone.
Well, that would go right.
So does that mean that Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews are going to do a remix duet of Boats and Hoes?
Wouldn't be surprised.
By the way, it was circulating around the internet this last week of Snoop Dogg, John C. Reilly, and Will Ferrell doing Boats and Hoes, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Wow.
I think we need to get Devin Matty to do a Step Brothers Boats and Hoes version, or a redo, what have you, a cover.
A cover.
I know the Ravens should probably put the boat away and focus on their opponent.
Yep.
Coming, because that Texans team is extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
If that's who they end up meeting.
It's either looking
going to be the
Steelers.
the winner of the Bills Steelers. I think it's going to be Texans Ravens, and then Bills Chiefs, and then Chiefs Ravens in the AFC title game, and then Chiefs 49ers in the Super Bowl.
I have it different.
I have it completely different.
Taylor Swift will not be denied.
I have one of these teams in the Super Bowl.
Oh yes,
and it's not the home team.
Yeah, Davey has the Rams going to the Super Bowl this year.
Last year after
come on.
After the AFC title game last year, when Travis Kelce went full nature boy, don't you disrespect Pat Mahomes.
Pass.
I was going to say, he's going to do the same thing this year. He's going to go, woo! How dare you disrespect us in Arrowhead? Welcome to T-Town, bitch.
So we got a 2nd and 1 Rams on their own 48.
Thanks to that DPI. No,
I heard a lot of.
Unless I'm behind, probably. I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I heard a lot of that DPI during the Dallas game, mostly from Dallas fans.
Well, let me put it this way.
They were thinking everything was DPI.
I was going to say, what the Packers did to them, they're lucky they weren't on Pornhub and it was just plain DP. That was about how well the Cowboys played today.
No, they turned it on in the second half. Dak Prescott, if he would have done that the first half, would have had like 600 yards.
So what do we see happening there? Is Coach gone, Dak gone, or both gone? Because somebody's gone.
No. I'd say they're going to leave it alone for another. for another year. I don't want to do the where's Belichick going to go. I don't like the Dak rumors that he's gone just because they got a first round boot. If this was deeper if they didn't make the playoffs at all, I'd consider it. But that stuff has to stop in football, because just because your team doesn't get in, you just chop the coach's head off right at the beginning, and then like it's over. No, don't worry about that. McCarthy should be fine. Dak will be fine.
How long?
Everyone's worried about Jerry Jones, like he's going to drop tomorrow. He's fine. He's not going anywhere. At least I hope not.
How long has McCarthy been there? How many years? Anybody know?
Jerry Jones will still be running the Cowboys when it's just his head in a glass jar of formaldehyde, a la RoboCop 2.
21-yard gain, Stafford to Nakua. 1st and 10 on the Detroit 6.
I think Dak remains. I think McCarthy is bye-bye.
McCarthy has been the coach for since 2020.
2020.
So this would be his fourth year if he gets extended.
Yeah.
Well, if you just do the Jason Garrett thing where you go 8-8 every year, you can last a decade. But if you actually get to the playoffs and get your ass whipped, you're done in 3-4 years. Sometimes I really think somewhere in a separate universe, Jerry Jones and Vince McMahon are just sitting in a hot tub together, blowing each other, congratulating themselves on being masters of the universe. That just seems like the two guys who would be hanging out doing that kind of thing.
I did not hear that.
I mean, some of
was it stupendous, pal?
Some of it like
Moses Malone. Go ahead, Davey.
I mean, some of it might depend on what it is they think they have in Trey Lance. They got him for a reason. You know.
And it's clearly
I don't know what they have in Trey Lance. I really don't know, because we've hardly seen the guy. I mean, I know the reports out of practice and everything were that he just, between the ears, he doesn't have it, but we haven't. I haven't seen enough of Trey Lance.
Got a 2nd and goal on the Detroit 6.
It's like when you show up to a wedding and the bride still has the veil on, and you stumble up and you pull the veil up and you're like, bye-bye. Well, you went to bed with Michelle Pfeiffer. You woke up with Barney Pfeiffer.
Trey Lance? I thought he was still
Trey Lance is a Cowboy.
I thought he was still a 49er.
No, he got traded before the season even began, I believe. And the 49ers opted for Sam Darnold, which tells you how much they thought about Trey Lance. When they think Sam Darnold is better than you've got problems. At least
I think that was more of a testament to Purdy as to what they thought of him.
Yeah, but with Purdy's injury last year, and you're thinking, okay, if this guy goes down, who's going to be the stopgap? And you're looking at Sam Darnold over Trey Lance. That was kind of a red flag to me. And again, I'm not judging Trey Lance's professional. I haven't seen enough of him, but if that organization that has shown an ability to judge talent over the last half decade or so, even plus, if they would prefer Sam Darnold over you,
incomplete. Incomplete.
So it is, so it's 3rd and goal for the Rams.
Yep. 4:34 left to go. They're trying to make this a duel in the first quarter, at least. That's what they should do, but hey. News has dropped also that the Chargers are going to meet with Jim Harbaugh this week.
Oh.
I read that this afternoon myself as well. I think if there's any head coaching job in the NFL to go to for someone like Harbaugh, oh, good God.
No, that's close. Oh, it hit the ball. It hit the ground.
I think
4th and goal.
if I were Harbaugh, I would take the San Diego job because this is going to be the best shot, best NFL job. He's got a good offensive line. He's got weapons. He's got a quarterback. He's got some defensive pieces. I think in a year he has them in the playoffs. In 2 to 3 years he has them in a Super Bowl if no major catastrophes occur.
Rams field goal.
I say go for it.
Rams with a 20 or Mara with a 24-yarder.
I say go for it. It's the playoffs. You got okay. No.
Last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
Brett Maher. How does he still have an NFL job?
Well, you see, when a man and a woman, pardon me, when a player and a GM, wait, that's not even the right one either. You know, sometimes miraculous things happen, and it's just that good old earth mojo juju, and it just happens.
When Vince McMahon sees Trish Stratus in a towel, if you know, you know.
When Vince McMahon walks into an office full of paralegals, I remember in high school, studying, parallelograms and geometry, but God damn it, Vince McMahon has paralleled more paralegals than he has ever parallel parked.
I can't do that. I
can
drive, but I can't parallel
park either. That's why I take Uber.
Hey.
Now, how you present me with a willing paralegal, would I be doing the parallel? Well,
oh my God,
that's all gonna, depend on many a circumstance. But parallel parking, Now, paralleling a paralegal while you're attempting to parallel park. Now, if Vince can pull that off, I mean, that's breaking the laws of physics. Even Albert Einstein is rolling over in his grave saying, "What the fuck?"
My captain, good one.
Hey, I'm in rare form tonight. I'm full of fried chicken and mashed potatoes and beer.
Where's the pizza?
I actually had pizza Friday night. We ordered from a local establishment here. Their pizza's still awesome. We tried their wings for the first time. The wings were god awful, but
understandable.
Their pizza's still. I'm not judging an establishment off of a tertiary item. If you're a pizza place and your pizza's still great, hey, I tried a side dish. It wasn't good. You're still fine with me.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of we didn't do watch-alongs. We would just gather up the gang, come over, watch the pay-per-views, watch the show, order pizzas and fried chicken and sodas and beers and chips and dip and everything, man.
I do myself kind of remember a world where every second of my life wasn't streamed live on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't yearn for those days because, I was broke and poor and despised by one and all, but hey, at this point I get to be live on YouTube and despised by one and all, so it's like I get to play. Yeah, it's like the greatest heel role ever. I get to argue with Davey about this and that. I get to give Dev shit about the Ravens, give Maddie constant hell about the Broncos, and they can shit on my Raiders and White Sox to no end because it's actually true. We suck. Maggie, there are no more biscuits. You ate them all, honey.
Good puppy.
Oh, you ate all the biscuits. Go downstairs. John will give you a milk bone. Go downstairs.
Like 8 minutes, whenever it's 45, because I'll be halfway through.
Every time I look at the upper portion of the screen, I see Maddie, and I keep thinking, who is that?
Maddie's.
Oh, because I shaved my beard and shit?
Yeah, because I'm glancing at it.
I've always said, Maddie, you look better when you either don't have a beard or just have the whiskers. Now you look like Sideshow Bob.
Groucho Marx actually was the first thing that popped into my mind.
Love it.
For he is an Englishman.
I look like a fucking mushroom.
You know who looked really good last night? Jack Perry. He looked so comfortable, like he was home.
Bro, that fucking beard though do not look good on him.
Davey, was that a jab?
Was it you? Yeah.
It was to you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
He was the
You
one
know,
that's
Scott Boy, with friends like these, who needs enemies? You know, anytime I'm ever feeling down about myself and, feeling low about my lot in life, I just have to message our group chat and Davey will kick me in the nuts and it'll just revive me.
There you go. There you go.
If you're not familiar, Mike, Captain here is our resident Philip
Mhm.
Brooks, president of the fan club.
Very
Southern
good.
Division.
Very good.
Yeah.
But
Founder,
Manny
CEO,
up here has to-
treasurer, and counsel on foreign relations.
Manny up here has to sometimes give young Josh Mansfield a swift kick once in a while because he likes to poke the bear, and he likes to, he put up a graphic today in our group chat.
Because often it sounds like Mansfield wants Maddie to poke him.
I'm not going there. I'm not going
The
If
simping that I have had to witness over this football season, that is simping like I have never seen a simp.
I mean,
And I thought I simped over Rhea Ripley hard.
Oh, trust me, we all simp over sweet Rhea Ripley. Love you, baby girl.
but he
Call
somehow
me.
put Mike McCarthy, or he put Bill Belichick in a Cowboys sweater. I'm like, bro, you're gonna. I put the digging your own grave gif. I'm like, stop poking the bear. Jeff
Simpson,
is not
can't you go
feeling
5
good
seconds
as
without
he is.
embarrassing yourself?
We got some big movement.
How long was that?
Down the middle for a 33-yard gain.
Sam
and goal,
Laporta's leg
Detroit.
looks like it's held together by
First and goal, Detroit.
titanium alloy.
Oh yeah,
Got it. Detroit first and goal on the Rams 10.
and I'm also jealous of good old Josh. I mean, he's got MJF calling him out. I mean, what do I have to do to piss off people good enough to get a clip like that?
I would never piss off MJF because I think MJF, along with Will Ospreay and Jordan Oliver, are probably the future of professional wrestling. But
I'm glad that Jordan Oliver's in that list now.
dude, I have become a Jordan Oliver simp. Ever since you introduced me to him virtually, and I've watched his matches, I've followed him on Twitter. That young man can do nothing wrong at this point. I love that kid.
Yeah, I love Mansfield too. He's my brother.
Okay, well, he could commit triple murder and rob a bank, and of course, then I'm going to have doubts. And son of a bitch, the Lions score.
How about that?
But Davey could still be right in that the Lions are going to let the Rams back into this.
I want the Lions. United Lions.
We've seen this, Davey. How many Sundays have we watched the Lions get out to a lead?
Yeah, they do this. They do this a lot. They do this a lot.
Eat some psilocybin during halftime, and then just forget, what they're doing. It's like Hunter S. Thompson, was filling the Gatorade jugs for the Lions at halftime. It's like
right down the middle.
Buy the ticket, ride the lion.
14-3, minute and a half.
Don't worry, Maggie. We're not getting a cat. It's okay. You just eat them anyway. And now she's looking at me like, "What you say, motherfucker?" Oh boy.
But yeah, Mansfield's my brother. I love everybody in our.
He honestly, and it's in whole 3-4 years I've been doing this, is one of the sweetest human beings I've ran across. I always love talking to him. And what you see whenever he comes on a show is what you get off the show.
Oh yeah.
He is just one of the nicest human beings ever.
Most genuine people out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And he and I are both Catholic, so I like his daily Facebook posts where he's updating me on
my brother.
the world of Catholicism.
Yep. But the mouth on him, boy, I mean, he swears like a sailor.
Well, hey, that's why there's confession. That's why you that's why you kneel in a box. Get on your knees, grab your ankles. Wait a minute, never mind. That's where you go to confess your wrongdoings.
Or do more wrongdoings.
Well, that depends on what side of the box you're on.
The swearing count is a sin?
Well, they say if you've been to a Catholic wedding and remember it, you've never been to a Catholic wedding.
Because if swearing is a sin, I'm going to be in that box for at least 2 hours.
What was that commercial?
Well, swearing is a venial sin rather than a mortal sin. You can a venial sin can be forgiven via confession or going to mass. A mortal sin, you have to get the Pope's blessing. There's only like 7. Well, no, there's venial sins, there's mortal sins, then there's like the upper third level, which there's only like half dozen of them, like the excommunicable sins. Your Howard Sterns, your Richard Nixon's, Hubert H. Humphreys, Michael Jackson's.
Oh God!
We're talking about your real evildoers on the planet.
So where does the 10 Commandments fall?
Well, they kind of they're sort of in the middle. They for that you kind of have to go to confession for those. Well, now it depends on who you kill. Now, if you just kill a random SOB, then it can be forgiven through confession. If you kill a nun, a priest, or threaten the Pope, that's an excommunicable. So you have to go. As George Carlin said, murder when it comes to religion is negotiable. It's all in who you kill, when you kill them, how you. There's a lot of. It's like Jeffrey Lebowski, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous. This is a very tough case, Mon.
That boy can't contain it.
Nope. I'm going straight to hell. I admit it. Okay. They just better have good Wi-Fi down there.
As long as I can put my parlays in, man, that's all I give a shit about.
Yeah.
Your husband and the others are alive, just unconscious, just like Gerald Ford.
Yeah, he is still alive, isn't he?
No, Ford's dead.
He died? Oh, it's Carter who's still alive.
Carter's still alive. Bill's still alive. W's still alive. Obama,
And just fell
Trump.
down.
So there are 5 living ex-presidents.
Right.
They could, though, Davey. They really could. If the Lions hold out the whole game.
Oh, that's just one night. I was held out on my entire honeymoon. Trust me, it can be done.
But this is standard practice for the Lions, right? Get up early, and then the other team slowly creeps back in. So let's see if
Start eating peyote at halftime, and then all hell breaks loose. Ay, ay, ay.
Well, they got time for one more play in the first quarter anyway. They got a chance here. Get that drone out of the way.
Skycam.
Skycam, yeah.
Looks like Aiden Hutchinson has a hickey from hell.
Ugh.
First down Rams. 1st and 10 on their own 41. End of the first.
Yeah, I'm still a little behind on you on that one.
That's what happens when you buy Barry Sanders a drink. Next morning you wake up, you got a hickey from hell.
Yeah, we're all behind Davey's Yahoo feed by like 20, 30 seconds usually.
Right.
We're always behind Davey. Video, internet, we're always behind Davey.
Davey, pause your feed for 20 seconds so you can all sync up.
Oh, you should see us during PLEs. It's like, he's seeing title changes while we're still watching introductions.
PLEs is different. I won't say, well, I don't have the Yahoo tracker up for that. But I try not to say what's happening because I don't know everybody's ad on those. Right?
Apparently, one of my degenerate gambler friends, not you, Maddie, but one of my degenerate gambler friends in our group text the other day, we all went to high school together, was like, hey, so do you like bet on WWE? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like bet on? He's like, no, you can actually bet on who's going to win. It's like, so you want me to bet on something that's already been predetermined by a booker, just hoping that maybe. Ay.
It won't work. If you're talking
It's like, dude, what are you gonna do? Bet on which crow's gonna fly off the fence next?
betting on wrestling, the outcome of the match will not work. That's why they do all the other, like how many chair shots, how many body slams, will the table get broken? Those can work because you don't know if they're going to do it or not.
Yeah.
But as far as plus 300 that Roman Reigns loses the belt, no, those bets will never run.
Yeah, I think they could have did one last night with the Moxley Takagi match. How many tables will be broken during that no DQ match? They could do something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because at least one. That's pretty much a given.
And then you'll get scandals up to Yahoo because you don't know if the person, like the producer, makes the call, says goes to Roman, goes to Rock, hypothetical. Roman, you're going to win. Then he goes and makes a bet without anybody knowing about it. He makes a ton of money on his own insider trading. The next thing you know, there's this guy. We have this guy. He worked for WWE. He made a huge bet and made a fortune. And no, it's not worth it.
So from Rock the Dwayne Johnson to Bernie the Madoff.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No, it would be the doublemint effect.
Yeah.
I told two friends, they told two friends, and so on and so on. And before you know it,
I could tell two friends anything. They're not going to believe me. They've seen my show. They know I'm a pathological liar.
I would like to try to find an old picture of either the Elimination Chamber or a steel cage covered in tarp while they were rehearsing inside. That's how bad it got in the 90s or in the late 2000s. They would literally put a tarp over the chamber, and then whoever was in the chamber, they'd choreograph, they'd talk with the producers, they'd go over spots. Then no cell phones, even if the cameras were on in the arena, they still couldn't tell what was going on in there. That's how paranoid.
It looks like Matthew Stafford's hand is hurt.
That looks like he got cleated. Yeah, he got spiked.
Whatever happened to the days of just we're gonna go 30 minutes Broadway and call it in the ring?
Those days don't exist anymore. That's what's sad.
It's like, do you think Flair and Steamboat had a script other than who's going over? and
Probably
and,
not.
and how?
No.
And they would go out and go 60 minutes.
In the promotion that you just mentioned there, I don't think it exists too much. I think once you get outside of there, it exists.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would say it happens far more in other promotions.
Because WWE fans don't have attention spans that last more than 30 minutes. Let's make Iron Man matches 30 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah. And if they miss it, we'll be playing 15 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
Puka down the field. He is in.
Nice
50
play. Nice play. You can't deny that one.
So pending the point after, that'll take it to 14-10.
Nakua the Puka with a touchdown.
And point
No,
after
go for two. Go for two. Make it a 3-point ball game. Let's make it interesting.
Point after good. 14-10.
Okay. Well.
Too early in the game to be doing that.
Going for two can be a mistake, especially if their parents are due home in 10 minutes.
See what happened to Dallas today?
I saw something like 48-16 while I was cooking, and
No, they went for two. They got a penalty.
Yep.
So that pushed them back. Then they said, "Well, we'll go for the field goal," and
missed.
Off the upright.
Doink.
That kind of day for them.
well, I wish I could feel sympathy for Dallas, but unfortunately, I live in the heart of Cowboy territory, and anytime they make an early round exit like this, especially to an old foe, I just know that whenever I go out in public again, I'm just gonna be able to see the tears, the sadness.
Oh, I know one guy tomorrow morning, ESPN,
Skip Bayless.
Stephen
Well, no,
A.
that. Well, he doesn't break out the Stetson and the cigars. Skip Bayless is probably breaking out the razor blades,
Oh yeah.
running a hot bath and taking a handful of aspirin.
The thing I hate about
He'll have
Stephen
a Diet Mountain Dew and he'll be fine. He'll jerk
Uh,
off to some old pictures of Jerry Jones and I'll be good with the world.
The thing is that Stephen A will admit that the Cowboys are a good team, but as soon as they screw up and lose, 2 years ago,
About them Cowboys.
exactly. The Cowboys won in the first round. They lost in the divisional. The other guy comes up is like, I told you they was going to win in the first round. I told you. They go to the divisional and it flips. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a shit show.
I remember back in the day when Stephen A., who I love, he's the only guy on ESPN that I still really enjoy. He used to call, the famous, meme, Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man. These days, Aaron Rodgers, as I said on our show last week, he has become the Ernest T. Bass of the NFL.
Oh, there you go.
He is the jackass who comes down from the mountains, throws rocks through our windows, and then expects us to listen to his horse shit.
And I've called out his top 5 every Tuesday this season. I have called them all out because it's like, I get you have your opinion. That's fine. You want to make your top 5? You want to pick your number 1 team? Go right ahead. But if he's picking a team that's different than mine, I'm going to call him out. I had Baltimore as the number 1 team.
Opinions are like felony indictments. Every member of the Trump family has one.
There you go. and he would not put the Ravens number 1. But he would say, yes, the Ravens have the best record. What more do you need? They have the most wins.
Sometimes the best record isn't indicative of being the best team. However, this year, I would say either I think the Ravens. I know they beat San Francisco. Those 2 teams are so damn good, and on any given Sunday, I could see either one beating the other on a neutral field. But I think those 2 teams are light years ahead of the competition as far as this season goes.
Right.
But Rodgers refusing to put them in. I don't know. Maybe he has some kind of. Good God, Montgomery just sliced them up. One play, 10 yards, 11 yards.
And of course, the best debate, the greatest of all time debate, will never get solved, no matter what. I did it. I bashed Brady for 2 years, and I used that defense. Okay, he's got 7 titles. He's got 7 rings. I don't think he's the best. You're like, you're out of your mind. I'm like, if he was the best, he would have 10 rings by now because he'd be perfect in the Super Bowl.
I was on that bandwagon until that comeback against Atlanta. Up until that point, I said Montana's still the best, and then that night I was like, okay, Brady, you've done it for me. You've eclipsed Montana. Congratulations.
I still blame copious amounts of marijuana for the Atlanta Falcons losing that game.
I blame Kyle Shanahan for forgetting that he had 2 really good running backs and just saying, you know what, we're up 28-3. We're just going to keep throwing the fucking ball. Dumbass. Red Foreman would have put his foot in your ass, Kyle Shanahan.
But having a ton of rings does not necessarily make you the best player.
Thank you.
Well, Elizabeth Taylor had a ton of rings, but that didn't mean she could play football worth of shit.
I mean,
I would love to borrow that. Can I borrow that?
Take it.
I gotta write that down.
Elizabeth Taylor had a ton of rings. That means she could play football worth of shit.
That.
So did Liberace.
Oh, that's not good. That's not. Oh, let that dog lie. Let that dog lie.
Well, hey, phenomenal piano player.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Can play a piano, but really, are you going to put him at left defensive tackle? No fucking
No.
way.
Sequins on his cleats. All right, well, come on, Goff, do something.
Anyway, you were saying,
you-
Davey.
Trying to.
Went from
you
Elizabeth Taylor to Liberace to.
Off the rails. I love it. Are we
We don't
watching
even
a
have
football game?
rails here.
Is there a football game going on? I can't tell. Ooh, that looked painful. Reynolds going down.
Rails are for trains and blackjack gamblers in Vegas.
Yep.
Or roadies from Motley Crue. Wait.
There you go.
You follow hockey, Mike?
Oh yes, hockey is my number 2 sport after football. Hence this. When I moved to Tennessee, I became part of the Preds bandwagon, but my heart is with the Anaheim Ducks, who are disasters right now.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, Davey's our resident hockey guy.
I got you.
The only thing I remember about the Anaheim Ducks, I remember 2 coaches. I remember Bruce. What was his name?
Bruce Boudreau.
Bruce Boudreau and Emilio Estevez. Those are the only 2 I remember.
That doesn't count, but okay.
Well, damn it. Bruce Boudreau, yeah. I do remember him when he was the coach.
Oh yeah.
Barbecue Bruce.
Yep. But they're just not doing very well this season. They're in the far right columns of my power rankings that I do each week. Bottom of the barrel is Chicago and San Jose. Unfortunately, I feel really bad for the rookie Connor Bedard. I really do. I mean, he took that hit. He fractured his jaw. He's out. And then San Jose is San Jose because the thing about California hockey, the Kings and the Ducks have a mutual dislike for each other, but we hate the Sharks more. So whenever the Ducks and the Kings play the Sharks, we root for each other. But when the Kings play the Ducks, it's like all bets are off.
I was into hockey back in junior high, but I felt I haven't watched a hockey game in probably 20, 25 years. And it's a sport I wish I could get back into, but I'm so occupied between baseball and the NFL that I don't. I wish I could get back into it. And the little sprinkling of time I get to follow Premier League, I want it. I just don't have enough hours in the day.
I got you. But yeah, I mean, football eats up my time, September to January. Then it's hockey January to June. It's baseball April to October, and then the sequence starts over. Basketball's on the back burner for me. As much as I'm following the Bucks with my boy Giannis, I was a Laker growing up for years on end, and then I just fell out of it. Once the Magic and the Kobe eras and the Shaq years died out, that's when I lost interest in basketball.
Baseball pretty much occupies my time from about this time of year until the NFL kicks off again.
Right.
But this year, my oldest nephew, it's going to be his first year of Little League.
There you go.
So I'm just going to be even more more into it. It's like, I get to go watch my 5-year-old nephew of my 39-year-old brother play Little League. And it's like, my God, I'm getting old.
I got you.
Ay.
Remember, Cap, like that Tom Grossi episode, hand him a baseball. This is the only ball you know. Now throw it.
Throw it really hard.
So, I'm not sure exactly how strong. Bryce is kind of a skinny, lanky kid, but my God, has that kid got speed. Like, he is going to be swiping some bags. The little nephew, I think he's been kind of more like a catcher, just a power hitter. Bryce is skinny, lanky, but my God, can that kid run?
Yeah, I got you.
It's dude, if you can just hit for average, if you can just hit 250, 275, and just get on base, you're going to be swiping bags with the legs you got.
Yeah, baseball with me. I grew up Dodger blue, by birth. Then
I will say I'm not a Dodger fan, but some of my most fondest afternoons and evenings of my life are listening to Dodger baseball on MLB radio because and I feel so bad for anyone who never had the chance to listen to the Dodgers on the radio because
you miss
God,
Vin.
I'm going to tear up here. Vin
I
Scully,
miss
so
Vin.
many nights I either sat out on my front porch or I laid,
Mhm.
and I didn't give two flying hoots about the Dodgers, but I just loved listening to Vin Scully.
Yep.
He could tell in one at bat, he could not only call the game but tell you a story that would just give you a chuckle or make you think.
Jared
God, I
Goff to
miss
Laporta for a 2-yard touchdown. Bagley makes point after 21-10 Giants.
Let's go, Detroit.
Well, actually, speaking of the Dodgers, Stat Boy, I might have something on my shelf you may just like to take a look at.
Ooh, okay, I'll take a look. In the meantime, I miss Vin greatly. I mean, I did get to see him. Dodger Stadium converted into a hockey rink for a game out there, so he did get to come out, with Bob Miller and all that, the Ducks and the Kings that played in Dodger Stadium when they constructed the hockey rink there. So I got to see him. I did try to meet him once. It just didn't pan out. 2002, I officially switched sides to the Angels because they won the World Series that year. So I've been an Angels fan for the better part of 22 years. Oh my God, look at that.
Sandy Koufax.
Oh, that's a fortune. That's got to be worth something.
No, the son of a bitch ain't dead yet. But yes, this is one of my most treasured baseball positions. Sandy Koufax is, in my opinion, the greatest pitcher to ever live.
Oh, absolutely.
People can talk Nolan Ryan. They can talk about Babe Ruth. They can talk about Bob Gibson. They can talk about anybody. Nuh-uh. Sandy.
I think you fucked up with the celery salt.
What's going on? You cooking?
Somebody is.
My brother.
Oh.
I made like a teriyaki pork loin.
I
don't think I fucked up with the celery salt. It tastes good. No, it doesn't.
But yeah, 2002, switched to Angel Reds. I kept my Dodger Blue roots. I would always keep an eye on Vin and the Dodgers and all that. In fact, whenever the Freeway Series would take place, I would put the TV on, the Angels broadcast, and I'd have the radio or iHeartRadio or whatever streaming. I'd have Vin in the background, so I would listen to him. And then we lost him, and I'm like, and I saw his last broadcast. I'm like, no, you can't go. It won't be the same. And then he was gone, and it's like
he
gone.
Well, we still have Bob Uecker, we still have Harry Doyle.
Yeah.
But I'm and I know Vin's gone now, but I treasure the years I got to listen to him, and to anyone who never got to. You it's like people say, well, if you never got to see X band perform, or if you never got to see Y movie in the theaters, if you never got to just relax on a Saturday afternoon, laying on the hood of your car with a cold beer, listening to Vin Scully talk baseball, you missed out.
Oh, that is nasty. Ew, look at that. Ugh, he got spiked real good.
Stafford to Nakua, 21-yard gain, 1st and 10. Rams on their own 46.
A few other little ones, Stat Boy. Greg Maddux.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Oh, wow. Good one.
Mariano Rivera.
Woo!
Henry Aaron.
Oh, wow.
And the piece de resistance, Teddy Ballgame, Ted Williams.
That's a really sad story with him. I mean,
well, can you imagine having a career like that and then going off your rocker and deciding to be cryogenically frozen?
I don't agree with the cryogenic stuff. I really don't. I think
I don't either. I hate the cold.
I think yeah, I'm about to live through it in a bit or so. But I'm sorry, man. I mean, he lived his life, and they should let him they should put him in the ground where he belongs. That's what, or cremate him or something. But to have his
Cremate
body,
him and then spread his ashes at home plate in Fenway Park.
there you go. Because I actually morbidly looked up the process. It is scary as hell. Because it's like they have a detailed minute by minute process as to how it's going. I'm like, oh hell no, because it's like, one, they have to be certain he's dead. Two, they literally have to strip him, submerge him, cry, and then they take off his head, and I'm like, oh my god! And his head is separated from his body, and his body is placed in a tank in a cryogenic facility in Arizona.
King Tut had it easier after he died.
I know, right? I'm like, that just sounds so horrible. And
Both the Pharaoh and Steve Martin.
yeah, despite your religious beliefs, I mean, there's only two ways to go. You're either in the ground or you're burned to ashes, or you're in the bottom of the sea if that's what you want. But
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Ted was always an odd guy his whole life, though. So he was one of those guys. He was kind of like Pete Rose in a way, the way he obsessed over hitting, like the science of hitting. And he was always kind of an odd duck. So it doesn't surprise me that much, but it still surprises me. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Teddy Ball game, arguably, the greatest hitting season of all time, hit 406 in 1941.
Right.
So, yeah. And also that was the same year DiMaggio got 56, the very same year. And so, arguably the greatest season ever for hitters up until you get to, 1998. Say what you will about what they may have been injecting into their ample posteriors. It was still the greatest season ever for hitting as far as a fan is concerned. But yeah.
Raymond, it's not over yet. They don't have the number, all right? It's only the Thank you. it's not even the end of the first half yet. The game is not over yet. It's not over until the fat lady sings and then people start walking out.
Or I get served with paternity suits. Either way, it's not over.
There you go. And no, Nolan Ryan is not the GOAT. I'm sorry. He was a good pitcher.
Until Moripovich says you are the father, it ain't over. What do you say?
If you've learned anything on Stat Boy Sports Bar, the GOAT debate will never be solved. No, Nolan Ryan is a great pitcher. Is he the best of all time? No, he is not.
He's better than great, but he's not the GOAT.
Yeah, if you look at his first 5-10 years in the league, it's definitely not GOAT worthy.
Well, he has the all-time career record for strikeouts. He also has the all-time career record for walks. He also has the all-time career record for no hitters. He has 7, but he also, for those numbers, never won a World Series. Did he ever even win a playoff game? Did he ever?
There you go. You're proving your own debate right there.
2-2 Atwell touchdown.
So you see, Raymond, Rams are coming back. 21-17 after this point after. So the
problem is at this point with newer fans, he's known more for punching Robin Ventura in the face than he is for what a spectacular player he was. And I mean, the longevity, he played until he was 44 and his elbow snapped and he was still throwing gas. He was like Ric Flair. He was a physical freak of nature. You shouldn't be able to pitch as hard as he did to that age. But again, no jewelry, no hardware, and he played for multiple. He played for the Angels. He played for Houston. He played for Texas. He bounced around the league and had a chance.
Yep. Now, the greatest moment by a pitcher, that goes to Randy Johnson, hands down.
Well, when you kill a bird with a 97-mile-per-hour fastball and basically fricassee the son of a bitch before it even hits the plate, I mean, yeah, it's tough to beat that.
And I thought that would never be duplicated, and it did. It wasn't even in a game, though. I mean, it was during warmups, and the poor bird just got in the way. You cannot replicate that 3 times in one lifetime.
Greatest game pitching, and say what you will about the guy personally. To me, Curt Schilling's Game 6 bloody sock performance. To me, that this is a human being with his ankle sutured together, and he pitched 6 shutout innings. That's in an elimination Game 6.
Yep.
As Davey said, I wouldn't consider Nolan a GOAT, but most definitely a Hall of Famer and a legend of the game that has put up records that are most likely not to be touched.
Absolutely.
No, the career strikeouts, the career no-hitters aren't going to be touched.
Absolutely. Like I say, the greatest of all time debate will never be solved because there's always going to be that one little tiny fact that's every player has that's going to just Oh, like I said,
you could argue Babe Ruth was the greatest pitcher of all time, but look at how the period of time. Yes, he pitched phenomenally well, but it was only 6-7 years of his career, and then you have him as a hitter. You could argue Bob Gibson was the greatest pitcher, but he had one stupendous year with a 1.1 something ER. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that was 1 year. It's baseball, and there's so many statistical things to look at and examine that it's impossible to say who the GOAT is. Exactly. I think Ty Cobb is the greatest overall player of all time, probably one of the world's worst human beings ever, but arguably the greatest all-around player of all time. Babe Ruth, there's so many ways to look at baseball. There's as many ways to look at it as there are ways to grip a ball.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. See, for the record, I say Terry Bradshaw is the greatest of all time because he was perfect in the Super Bowl. If I ever
4 for 4.
4 for 4. If I ever am lucky enough to meet the Fox crew on an NFL Sunday, I will go up to Terry Bradshaw. I will shake his hand. I said, "Sir, I call you the GOAT," and he'll be humble and he'll say, "I'm not the GOAT. I'm also a star. You won the Super Bowl 4 times out of 4 attempts. You are perfect in the Super Bowl. That is why I call you the GOAT." And then
didn't he win MVP in all 4 as well?
Maybe I believe.
No,
so.
I don't think he won it in a couple of them. I think.
But yeah, I mean.
Well, also Terry is a really, really awesome human being. I love listening to interviews with him.
Oh yeah.
He just and I've read both of his books. He just strikes me as, just you would love to have him as your next door neighbor.
Matt Stafford licked his lips at the camera.
I missed that.
You would love to have Terry Bradshaw as your next door neighbor. Whether you needed to borrow a hammer or if you needed, someone to come over and help you build a barbecue, or whatever. He would be that great dude to have in your life.
Collinsworth, put your coat on. This is the playoffs. Come on, bro. Put your coat on.
Well, they are in a dome.
Chris Collinsworth, like it's fucking hot out here.
Good God! What the hell was that?
Also,
what was that?
Also, I want to shout out, kudos to Mike Tirico for going halfway across the states for this game in one day.
The life of an NFL broadcaster.
And just ask Howard Cosell about the life of an NFL broadcaster.
And thank you to NBC for getting a contract with DirecTV for me to watch this game and not watch it on Peacock.
I'm watching it on the cock, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody needs to watch a cock once in a while.
Oh, that was a good one. But yeah, at least Howard Cosell in the early days of Monday Night Football, he was in his jacket and tie. He looked the part. He played the part. Okay, just because the camera is not on you all the time, Chris Collinsworth, you have to be camera ready. So you got to wear your coat in the booth.
Well, Cosell had to be the straight guy because you never knew whether Meredith was going to be stoned or not. And then Frank Gifford would have his good nights and his bad nights.
Well,
but here's the thing: most people don't remember the very first season of Monday Night Football. Frank Gifford wasn't there. It was the guy who went on to become Mr. College Football for ABC. Keith Jackson was the third man in the booth for the first season of Monday Night Football, and he was so atrocious that he got the boot after one season.
Yeah, don't get me started on Frank Gifford because I think it was a big slap that he went from NBC to Amazon Prime. That was a joke. And don't get me wrong, I miss Regis also. Regis and Kathy Lee was one of my first shows. Kathy Lee would just talk about Frank and the kids. It's like Regis would be talking about football. That would trigger Kathy Lee to talk about Frank and the football game. Of course, Regis was a huge Notre Dame guy because that's his alma mater. And
Kathy Lee Gifford she was like Jane Fonda before a couple of drinks.
There you go.
It's like Jane Fonda would show up to a minister's funeral dressed in feathers. Kathy Lee would at least show up in a dress before she had a few cocktails, and then things would go off the rails. It's like Henry Fonda. I love you, one of my favorite actors of all time, but good God, your daughter. She goes from being Hanoi Jane to fucking Ted Turner. I mean, wow. Sweet Jesus, if you go from supporting the North Vietnamese to writing Billionaire Ted, I mean, good God.
And then she left, and then Kelly Ripa comes in. We get the younger demographic in. We get the soap opera demographic in. Kelly was just trying to be Kathy Lee 2.0 because she would talk about Mark and the kids going to the Hamptons on the weekend, and I'm like, Regis, save this show. And Regis got sick and everything.
Is that your final answer?
That's what started the whole game show. That was the revamp of the game show right there with Regis and who wants.
Oh yeah. Well, and I always dug Regis. He like you said, he was sandwiched between Kathy and then Kelly, and I just always got this sense about Regis that he was just somewhere in the back of his mind he was like, just go along with it. They're paying you a shitload of money. Just smile and nod.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to strangle both of these bitches, but you can't do that.
Yeah, there you go. I miss Regis.
I just miss those kick-ass ties. I mean, I'm not even really a suit guy anymore because I don't work in an office. Ties. But man, that guy could rock a silk tie like nobody's business.
Absolutely. Coming up on halftime, Packers crush Cowboys. What's next for McCarthy? Nothing. McCarthy will be fine. It's a loss. Get over it. I sentence you to panic mode and wait what happens.
Davey says, hitter, I would go with Ted Williams to go a little out of the box. For pitchers, Greg Maddux.
If you called Greg Maddux the GOAT, I would have no problem with that.
The king of control.
Yes. I mean, again, I think Koufax is the greatest of all time, but if you told me Maddux, I'm not – hey, I'm still going to buy you a drink. I'm not going to –
And other people could argue Pedro as well. Like
I've got an autographed Pedro jersey on my wall. I fucking love Pedro Martinez.
The greatest, he had both of you said, the greatest of all time is the most vague thing that we can talk about.
Pedro had a stretch of 4 to 5 years when he was with Boston where he was absolutely untouchable. He had a changeup that was somewhere like 15, 16 miles an hour slower than his fastball when the average is 11 to 12. It was criminal how good Pedro was for that, half decade. If you said Pedro, I'm not going to complain. Maddux, hey, as long as you don't, throw out some horse shit like, give me a piece of shit pitcher. Steve Howe, if you throw out a Steve Howe reference, I'm just going to say, well, last chances are like fingers. Everybody's got 10 of them.
Not everybody. Not everybody. Some people
Okay.
got 11.
Well,
Or
that's
not.
that's if you were born in Mississippi or Kentucky. That's a little bit of a different thing. The water's a little poison down there. Or if you work a coal mine or a sawmill, you may have like 8 or 9. That's it depends.
Now,
Or
to
Jerry
Raymond's
Jerry Garcia. Jerry Garcia only had 9, and look how great of a guitar player he was.
Yep.
To get a little bit more context on Raymond's question, are we talking like currently, or are we talking all time? Because if we're talking all time, I hate to say it's the Yankees.
Yeah, I think he's going all time because, and I'll answer that as well. I mean, yes. Now see, when it comes to this part,
Now, are you talking about like particular eras? Because there were years where the Yankees were so piss poor, nobody would go watch them. Then there were eras with Casey Stengel where they couldn't lose.
27, man, 27. Yeah, they've got 27.
This is where I contradict myself because I can admit that the Yankees can be the best team because they have the most World Series titles. But then people come on me, oh well, Brady has the most rings. You're contradicting yourself. There's
a difference between players and teams.
Well, exactly. The Braves won 13, 14 division titles in a row. You had Sparky Anderson's Reds in the 70s, the Big Red Machine, which I think is the best team of all time if you're going to pick like a particular era just for awesome consistency, either the 70s Big Red Machine or Casey Stengel's Yankees in the 50s. But then you get the Braves in the modern era, 13 or 14 straight division fucking titles. I mean, there is no GOAT. You got a lot of donkeys, you got a lot of cows, but GOATs, there's no crying at baseball. There's no goats in baseball. There's just livestock.
Again, you're just going to debate yourself until you make yourself sick over it. You're gonna.
I mean, I've debated myself until my hand hurt, but that's a whole different thing.
I throw it, you knock it out.
I mean, come on, that was an eephus pitch. That was a Bill Lee eephus, just right to home plate.
Exactly.
Love you, Bill Lee.
That's what I do. I set up the joke. Someone else knocks it out of the park.
If there was ever a living baseball player that I could interview, just sit with him for 2 hours, it would be Bill Lee. That guy has one of the sharpest baseball minds and one of the quickest wits that I can never get enough of Bill Lee.
The one that I thought was very fascinating was Jim Abbott. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, how he could pitch the ball, then switch gloves and catch and then switch again. That was amazing. I actually had a friend in school a long time ago. His hand didn't fully form when he was growing up.
We're talking Jim Abbott, right?
Yeah, we're talking Jim. Yeah, it was I guess the medical term is a stump. I don't know what the property is, but I thought that was the greatest thing ever. And when I went to school with this friend, I'm like, you're pretty cool. And he's like, why? I'm like, I don't want to disrespect you, but you not having a hand there, that is the coolest thing ever. And he showed me his prosthetic hand, and he showed me how he could grip a baseball bat and he could still swing.
Oh, that's cool.
It was. For me being 10, 11, 12 years old in middle school, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And we became great friends. And I'm like, this guy is the coolest kid ever.
Well, look at 1996, the Reno Open, Roy Munson bowling with one hand against Ernie McCracken and coming within an eyelash of winning that tournament. I mean, nobody.
The thing about Jim Abbott is Jim Abbott was one of my first ever book report projects.
Really?
In school, because I found a book and I was like, he's pitching with one hand. Like, there's no other hand there. And I believe he's still, in MLB history, the only pitcher to pitch a complete game with one hand.
Yep. I actually did grow up on bowling, too. I actually used to watch the PBA tour.
Okay. We all get Munson once in a while.
2:00 on a Saturday afternoon before the Wide World of Sports on ABC, there was the PBA tour.
Wow, that's going back
That's
a
going
long
back.
ways.
That's how that I would
Wide
say
world
I
of
think
sports.
that's right. I think bowling was the very first sport I actually remember watching, and then watching it religiously, and then then the Wide World of Sports was where I got introduced to the Harlem Globetrotters for the very first time, and then that's how I learned that Muhammad Ali was the greatest boxer of all time. I will defend no matter what.
Yes,
Ali,
I will tag team you on that one.
thank
Muhammad
you.
Ali is not only the greatest boxer of all time. I think he is the most important athlete of all time.
I
And
still got without
I
a
will
shadow.
put, I will put Ali above Babe Ruth in terms of.
Would you put him above Jackie Robinson?
Yes, I would put Ali above Jackie Robinson. I would put Ali number one, Jackie Robinson number two. I'm saying importance of athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Ali, Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, because you take those guys out, not just of their sports, but you take them out of existence, and the world is different. Without Ali and without Jackie, not only are their respective sports different, the world is a different place, and not for the better.
Davey also wanted to point out, as a comparison of the opposite ends of the spectrum in the GOAT conversation, Bryan Danielson could be GOAT for some people. Roman Reigns could be some for others. It's all in how you view and interpret what people have done. Raymond also asks the entire chat, what do you guys think about the Pro Bowl being flag football this year?
Of every great thing the NFL does right, they can't do an all-star Pro Bowl whatever game.
I like the skills competition now. I like the new skills competition that they did last year.
The problem is football inherently is such a physically demanding game that to have an exhibition game of that nature, it's like, these guys aren't going to be playing full force, hitting each other. I think they're getting closer to what the Pro Bowl should be, but the MLB All-Star Game is still, I think, the best. I would probably say next would be the NHL All-Star Game is a huge one. MLB probably pretty close to that.
As Davey just said, they should scrap the Pro Bowl and NHL All-Star Game.
Well, see, again, hockey, I don't see how you can play hockey and not be physical. You can play football and it can be flag. I don't say you can play flag hockey. Now, let me reiterate, I haven't watched a hockey game in about 20 years, so I could be very well behind on this. I know maybe a half dozen current players and that's it. But I don't see how you have a cupcake hockey game. It probably does have. I'm just thinking. I don't see how you have one.
Stat Boy, we'll let you answer next.
As far as the flag football, it's an evolution right now. I do remember the good old that one to see how far a quarterback could throw. And I thought that was it. The whole, I don't know what else they do during the skills in the NFL stuff. So I just thought it was just play the Pro Bowl game and that's it. So I don't know. I never really liked flag football. I want to see the pros tackle each other. That's what football is. And you got to work your way up to it. So I don't know if it's marketing or anything. I don't know if it's, I'll just throw it as evolution. I mean, that's all it's got to be.
Me and Devin grew up in an era where we saw Sean Taylor absolutely murder Brian Moorman for trying to do a punter run play. We saw people like Polamalu doing insane shit in the Pro Bowl game. We enjoyed the Pro Bowl games when we were younger because they were actually played. It was, who's best in the league. if they
Yeah.
made the Pro Bowl game something where the winner of the Pro Bowl gets, advantage in the Super Bowl, like it goes to the city of the, not necessarily of the winners of the Super Bowl, because playing a Super Bowl game in late February in like Pittsburgh would be fucking terrible, or in Buffalo would be horrible. But like keep the Super Bowl in the division, I'd guess.
I would also say with how the MLB All Star Game, I still think it's the best one, but there used to be such a difference between the American League and the National League. They used different balls, they had different commissioners, they had totally different sets of rules. Now it's sort of like AFC, NFC. There's no real difference between American League and National League. But
hell, back in the day, if the National League had the All Star Game, guess what? American League pitchers are up to bat.
Yeah. Well, and also, but to me, even though I'm a hardcore baseball guy, I love the fact that they now have universal DH because pitchers shouldn't be allowed to hit. They suck at it.
Hey, you respect Carlos Zambrano, goddammit.
And I respect Madison Bumgarner. But at the same time, just from a fan's point of view, I like the fact that the leagues are a little bit closer together now, but there should still be that inherent desire of competition to where the guy wants to prove his league is better. Jerry Jones looked like someone took Emperor Palpatine, gave him a god-awful plastic surgery and round of liposuction.
Oh, God.
What's he
Look at
saying?
that guy.
Like, what's he saying?
I can barely hear him. He just mumbles because he's like Vincent Mann. He has no voice anymore.
He's basically saying that this season, looking back at it, getting to where they were and getting bumped out in the first round is painful and disgraceful to the Cowboys.
Sometimes I think Jerry Jones died about 10 years ago, and before every game, they just hook about 20,000 volts up to his corpse and just bring him back to life for a few hours.
Stat Boy, I know what you had said about the Cowboys and what you had said about Mike McCarthy and Dak, but with what I just heard from Jerry Jones and how he talked, one of them might be gone this season.
Sounds like he just had to bury one of his sons. He sounds so sad and depressed.
Like Jerry Jones is not happy. I can see at least one of them being gone.
I love seeing.
If they have to get rid of one, then they're definitely going to sacrifice McCarthy because that's what happens in football. You take out the coach.
It's the coach over the quarterback.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher.
Unless you're Denver.
Yeah, I mean, Denver has basically become Cleveland when it comes to ongoing quarterbacks. I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for Maddie to have one of those Denver-type jerseys where they just list every single quarterback that you guys have had for the last –
He's allowed to be upset. His team lost. I get it. But still, to say that, somebody's got to go right after the game is too soon. That's what I got to say.
Have the Broncos had more quarterbacks, or did Phil Spector own more wigs? I mean, let's let's call a spade a diamond here and compare apples to cantaloupes.
The carousel has not been fun the last couple of years. That's for sure.
Carousel? You guys have more horses on your carousel than there are at a county fair. Coincidence, since you are the Broncos. Let's ride.
And now,
God, we got a lot of snow today.
I think it is starting to snow outside.
I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We got about 3-4 inches if I'm just gazing out my window here.
We have no snow up here in Nova Scotia. It's 32.
It is 0 here. It is
I'm at
0 to.
33.
Well, I'm looking at I live next door to a bakery, so I'm looking at their back door steps. I'm guessing somewhere around 3 to 4 inches.
Where did I put my phone? There's my phone. I'm gonna take a quick look outside. That guy in the Kansas City without his shirt on, that was a shock. Let's take a look at here. Oh yeah, we got the snow on the ground. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the wind chill, I think last night was something like -25, -30. Let me see what the wind chill is here right now.
Tomorrow's high in Longmont, Colorado is 3 degrees. The low is -14.
Our high tomorrow is 15. Wind chill right now. Let me pull up weather.com. It doesn't give it to me on my app for some reason. The coldest, I lived in Fayetteville a few years ago when we had our record low. It got to actual temp -20.
Wow.
Right now it's wind chill is -7. I've been here when it was actual temp -20. Yes, Ray. Nick Saban, the college GOAT, has been put out to stud. But being put out to stud when you're 70 years old, I mean, come on. How many times can you wind the crank on a Model T before your arm just gets tired?
We shoved his head so far up his ass we can't make it go any more than that. That was a good one. You're on point there, Cap. You're on point. I'll tell you that.
Hey, we shoved this guy's head so far up his ass he can shave his chin and his balls at the same time.
We did that as far as we can go. We can't go any further.
I've seen a very interesting scenario put forth on the Twitters.
All right.
No, what is that?
It's a WWE scenario. It's very WWE. Yeah.
Here we go.
All right.
So we all know tomorrow night, thanks to the promotion of Tony Elite, the Seth and Jinder match is taking place.
Yes.
Whoop-de-doo. Go ahead.
What does it all mean, Basil?
The theory that someone's floating out there, so I want to get your thoughts on this.
All right.
Jinder somehow wins this. Priest cashes in on Jinder.
It's a way to get the belt off of Seth and possibly give him a rest because we know his back is pretty fucked at the moment.
Well, no, he won't get a rest because he's more or less geared towards Punk.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I said, it would be a very WWE thing to do, especially in retaliation for the little Twitter thing last week. I hope they don't do that. That would be kind of awesome.
I don't like that idea because number one, I don't like the idea of Jinder coming back, getting punked out by The Rock, and then getting punked out by Seth Rollins and now getting a title shot. Any WWE fan, whether you're new school or old school, thinks that should hopefully think that that's the dumbest thing in the world. Well, so, I mean, the guy barely has, I think he has less than 10 minutes overall in the Royal Rumble as well. I've been doing Rumble stats the last 3 weeks. So, the only reason they put the belt on him was just to give him the stat that he is the first Indian WWE champion. That's the only reason they gave him the belt. He never drew a dime.
If memory serves
he never drew a dime. That's all it is.
He never drew a dime.
And they have those Saudi shows coming up too. So.
Oh yes. Well, they also have Australia. They also have Paris.
No. When they first put it on them.
Saudi and India.
Oh, okay.
Different things. Not the same. Not the same. Not the same at all. Two different areas. So, that putting the belt on heaven forbid if Muhammad Masad came back and put the belt on him and sent him over to Saudi, that would have been a little bit more thinkable. But no, it's not going to happen, thank God.
No. And Ginger's from Calgary.
Yeah. So,
Wait, he's Canadian?
Yeah, he's born in Calgary.
Raymond, always the
Fool
Cowboys
me.
fans say they need to fire Mike. They say that because they're losing. Come on, Raymond. Really? Come on, man. They're bitter because they lost. Bottom line.
Hearing that this is the first time that Cap heard that Ginger is Canadian is hilarious to me.
He doesn't look the part.
He doesn't look Canadian? Do you want him to look like Davey and go out there and going, hey, eh?
Did Yokozuna look Japanese?
Okay, he looked closer to Japanese than Jinder Mahal looks to being Canadian. Okay, I partner with Davey on this podcast, and so I see Davey's face 3-4 times a week. I have also watched probably just about every episode of South Park ever. I know what the fuck a Canadian looks like: beady eyes, flapping heads, rude, cursing. Just most, horrible human beings on planet Earth. I know what a Canadian looks like. Wait a minute. My apologies to any and all Canadian fans who are watching us tonight. Okay, Jinder Mahal. Okay, he does not look Canadian to me. I would think he would pass more for Italian before he would pass for I mean, Neil Young, Alex Lifeson, Dave McKinnon. These are Canadians. Jinder Mahal, I mean, dude, how do you even get a tan up there? The sun shines for like 2 weeks a year.
Good question. Good question. Good question, indeed. Stat just came up that the Detroit coach has improved greatly over the last 3 seasons.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a coach who seems to have a pulse and maybe a brain.
But see, it's not all the coach. It's the players too. I'm sorry. Yes, the coach tells the player what to do. I defend this.
Yeah, but they've had how many great players over the last 30 years and haven't done dick?
I know, but see, I defend this rant the whole time. If the coach tells me to do something and I don't produce, that falls on me. That does not fall on the coach. If Matty is the coach, I'm the quarterback, you're the receiver, I throw the ball, you don't catch it, then it falls on you. If I throw the ball and if I get sacked, it's the defensive fault for not protecting me. But still, the coach is always the first one to get their head chopped off. That's why everyone's so panic-stricken over Mike McCarthy. If it happens, it's going to be wrong, okay? Mike McCarthy did not lose that game. Dak Prescott did. He's the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, Dak Prescott is the one that threw 2 pick sixes.
Exactly. There's your reason. There's your reason why. You can easily say Dak Prescott lost that game because it's an honest and true fact. He threw the pick sixes. Take those 12 points off the equation, what would have happened? Game could have probably gone into overtime, maybe. You don't know.
And the Rams take a TO.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say, you take away those 2 pick sixes, the Rams were only down by, I think, 16 points.
The Packers. Not
Game would have been a lot different.
You said Pat. You said
I'm looking at this. My bad. The Packers were only up.
Who are you people and where is my horse?
The Packers were only up by 16 points. You take away those 12 points from those 2 pick sixes, that's a very different game.
They would have had a chance, absolutely.
Because on one of those pick sixes, they did doink the field goal.
Exactly.
Tom Grossi has probably creamed his jeans more times today.
I have seen a few of his podcasts, and I would love to know how he has attained that level to where he can do all that stuff and have hundreds of thousands or thousands of followers and viewers and everything. It's amazing what he can do.
We've had Grossi on our show a couple times, and
Wow.
Time and effort, man. Time and effort.
And I chat with him, DMs at least probably once or twice a month. He's just he's a super nice, genuine guy. What you see is what you get, and he works his ass off, and it's just classic. It's like Derek Jeter said: if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you're going to be a pro at it. And that's kind of how I look at Grossi. He's worked his ass off at it, and he's reaping the just rewards in a good way.
Yeah.
He also puts out content like 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah. I mean, he'll have videos up 15 minutes after a game ends. So, I mean, and Urinating Tree the same way. When he does sports ball every week, during the NFL season, he's told me he starts writing that show about midway. He starts writing sports ball to come out Wednesday about midway through the first round of games on Sunday. I mean, he doesn't even really get to sit and watch the games and enjoy them because he's writing and working on his stuff.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I feel like with the sports bar, it's like we produce the show Wednesday to Monday, and I'm keeping an eye on ESPN. I'm keeping an eye on the stories. I'm putting graphics together. Tuesday we present the show, and I do my show. I sign off. I turn off my computer. I shut down my phone. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning, turn on the computer, look at the phone, look at the stories from last night, and then something happens, and I'm like, oh my God, do I ever get a day to just sit on the couch and enjoy a show? And the answer is no.
No, not really.
The answer is no, because something is always happening in sports. At 2:00 in the morning, you'll get the notification. Oh, we fired the coach.
Yeah, Falcons. They fired him. I think it was officially 12:02 a.m.
Yeah.
On Black Monday. Just think of what it was back in the day, though, before we had the internet, before we had ESPN, when a team like your hometown team would make a move on, say, a Saturday night, and you may not read about it in your local newspaper until the Monday morning or Monday afternoon edition, if your paper had morning and evening editions.
Yep.
So it could be 48 hours before something really huge happened, and you wouldn't know about it unless you either had some kind of an in with the organization or something like that.
Yeah, local news would not pick up on sports until 45 minutes into the show, and you barely get a news story. You get the recap. That's it.
No, back then you didn't. I lived through those times. Like,
me too. Me too.
Whatever went on over the weekend, you waited for that Monday paper.
Yeah.
And that covered everything that went on Sunday and everything that went on Saturday. So it was like you could sit there for hours just going over the sports page.
And then same thing in baseball. I mean, if the game went into extra innings and it didn't
and it was past deadline.
It was past the deadline.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get the score until the next day's paper. They would say late. The score came in late.
And all these stats that we have at the snap of the finger now,
instantaneous,
wasn't back then.
No,
like you would get every day.
Exactly
that I got here in Nova Scotia, you would have the box score from each game.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember.
And you would pour over those stats, and then once a week, I think it was Saturdays, you would get stats from each team.
That's right.
That was your internet.
Yeah,
was your internet.
I mean, I can remember doing fantasy baseball via box scores in the newspaper, and I remember doing fantasy football, all on paper. And this was up until late, first decade. I mean, that was just pen and
Got it.
paper, millennials.
Paper.
It's a wonderful thing. I suggest you try it sometime.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of paper. I mean,
It made you a disciplined statistician and fan, because if you were going to be following your team or whatever back in the day, hey, either you followed them or you didn't, because you had to pay attention to, like around here, University of Arkansas football. That's like the team in the state. They have no pro team. They have a minor league baseball team. Only about 7-8 years ago when we got one, it was the Arkansas Razorbacks, and you would not get news. Like if you were further south in the state, the Fayetteville paper would get it, but because they didn't have a relationship with the papers further south, it would be the day after. Well, they would get off the AP wire. Look up that one, kids. The AP wire or the UPI if you really want to get old school.
Lions are charging again. First and 10 on the Rams 29.
Depending on where you were in the state, you would be getting news a day or two late. And it was something that happened where you lived, more or less.
And you guys would probably remember this publication too, Baseball Weekly.
Yes.
I used to love when that came out. That was my, and this was prior to the internet the way that it is now, right? But those were Baseball momentous occasions when they hit the newsstand.
Well, the very first fantasy baseball league documented it is like 82, 83. Very well documented in the ESPN 30 for 30 silly little game. Their commissioner would compile the stats once a week when USA Today, Baseball Today, whenever all that came out, and then he would, and this was because they were all in like modern era jobs at the time, he would, imagine this, fax the league's weekly results to the owners in the league. Imagine being the schmuck in 1982-83, just standing by the fax machine waiting to see how your team did.
Oh, wow.
Now it's just like, click.
Ooh, nice sack.
Versus, hitting the intercom. Mrs. Jones, have I gotten a fax from J.L. Huber yet? No, sir, it hasn't come through yet. Thank you.
4th and 17 Lions on the Rams 36. That's a 54-yarder if they go for it.
17th down, 4 yards to go. Wait a minute. Strike that. Reverse it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play behind you guys, so.
Yeah.
I'm glad they come up with this internet stuff, though, because they kept adding teams. Like, we had to keep this up.
This whole expansion thing.
Like before, like hockey wasn't too bad. Like when I was like a really young kid, like when the WHA was still on the go, and then that merged, and we got 4 extra teams. It's like,
what year did the WHA merge with the NHL?
Like 79, 80, I think it was.
Okay,
sounds about right.
I remember Harold Ballard just loved him some WHA.
That's where Wayne.
Wow, they're going for a field goal,
and it's good.
It's good. Get the points on the board. All right, 24-17. This puts the Rams in striking distance so they can get their stuff together here. All they need is a touchdown to make this a game. This will be the best game so far this weekend. No blowouts or anything like that. It's good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Gary Coleman was within striking distance of Andre the Giant if Andre was passed out on the ground drunk.
The Andre drinking stories.
Oh, Lord.
106, brother. 106.
That's not my favorite one. Is the one with Jake Roberts, where Jake.
Oh, the van.
Yeah, Jake was his driver for. They were going like from one show to another. It was like a 3-4 hour drive, something like But back in those days, the star and this worked in all the territories. The top star wanted to have one of the underneath guys drive them, and they would pay for the gas, and it was just a way to help. But anyway, Jake got the gig to drive Andre, and Jake's like, Andre, you want anything before there's a beer?
Beer.
Okay. Like,
Well, yeah,
you know
okay,
what?
how much?
I'll get myself a 6-pack myself, Andre. How many is it? 2 cases. Well, maybe he wants some for his room later, until we get to like 2 cases. And I'm sitting and I'm driving the van and it's here pop, 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 pop. And after about 2, I was like, Andre, I gotta stop and piss. So I went out, I took a piss, got back in, had a couple beers, and I gotta stop. We get to the hotel and I go back, let Andre out. And he gets out of there. It's like, hey, Andre, you want a beer? He's like, finished. I'm like, bullshit. And he gets out of the van, and I'm feeling around in the van thinking I'm going to put my hand in piss. He drank 48 beers and didn't have to piss. God damn it. I don't care if you outdrank me. But if you drink 48 beers and I haven't got to piss.
I love the stories of with the he liked the wine. He'd have a case of wine, drink it like a bottle of water.
Well, there was the other night the 106 beers. What the funny thing is, it's not that he drank 106. Is that some fan that night got Malvi and Andre? They were at like one of those like coastline bars they have in the Carolinas. He took the sumbitch out, was going to drown him, and Ric Flair was trying to save this poor bastard. But there was the other time when he's in a bar drinking with his buddies, and there's like 3 or 4 dudes just being assholes, and Andre keeps trying to quell it. He's like, guys, I'm just here trying to relax, cool, let me buy you a drink. And they just keep pestering him. He's had enough of it. He gets up, they run out, get in their car, lock the door, and he's trying to break, and he just flips the car over. He and Tim White get in their car and leave. It's like, what are they going to tell the cops if they do call the cops? Oh, a giant turned our car over. You drunk motherfuckers, you're going to the tank.
And then I still get on replay. It's he hated Randy Savage with a passion. He's in the back playing cards. Hey,
no baby oil, get out.
No baby oil, get out. No baby oil. Go out there and whack, and he hit. And he's like, my God, you're gonna kill him. And then, Shiki Bay, hey, Andre Bubba, you think I can slam? Get out! And out there, whack, and then Big Bell Stud going over the top rope. That's what Andre does. You don't do that. And grabs his gear. He's gonna kill me. I mean, and the best line of that entire whole sequence, when Gene Okerlund saying, how would you know if Andre didn't like you? Down, boss. You didn't have to tell you twice. He said that. You don't piss off the giant. You just down, boss. And a lot of people think I call people boss. I've been doing that. But unfortunately, I did not get it from Andre. I got it from Michael Clark Duncan in The Green Mile.
Green Mile, yeah.
Best movie in my opinion. I love that movie. And he would say boss. He'd call everybody boss. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good gig.
Anybody younger than me, I call him kid. Anybody older than me, I call him sir. I'm at that awkward age in between where I can get away with either one about half the time.
I can accept sir as a term of respect, but I reserve sir for people, parents, fathers, police officers, soldiers.
Or someone who's a superior in the workplace. People. Or someone who I look up to,
Exactly. When people call me sir, I look at them, I say, that is very kind of you, please, but I am not worthy of that title. I am not a father. I'm not a person.
I have not been knighted by the Queen.
Are, especially if it's another guy. If a guy comes up to me and calls me sir, and I can see he's a family man, I'm like, you're more of a sir than I am. You're a dad. You're a husband. You deserve that title. I've got nobody. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. You do. You're 10 times cooler than I am.
I have none that I know of. But anytime I'm, what was it that made me think of another Andre story? You mentioned they were at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. Him, Arnold's. I think it was him. Oh gosh. No, it wasn't Schwarzenegger. That wasn't when he put Schwarzenegger on the armoire. It was him and like 3 or 4 other wrestlers, And one of them challenged Andre to a beer drinking contest at Caesar's Palace. And I forget which one it was, but by the time the festivities were all said and done, Andre had the bartender was keeping track. He was putting the bottle caps in beer buckets, and I think Andre finished with like 130 bottle caps, and whoever came close only came to like it was like him, Lou Albano, a couple of I forget, but anyway, they've got a show that night in Vegas. And they get there, and the road agent, it was Arnold Skolin, was the road agent for the show for the WWF. And it was like, goes up to Arnold, he's like, hey, I heard all you guys were at Caesar's Palace having a beer drinking contest since 8 or 9 o'clock this morning. Andre's looks, I was like, we're here, boss. We made it. Because who the fuck's going to take a bottle out of Andre's hand? I mean, who's like, what are you going to do? It's fucking Andre.
1st and 10 Rams on the Detroit 11.
Did something happen to Kyron Williams? I have not seen him out in the field.
Nor have I. They are down to the 10 of Detroit. Now we're cooking with gas. And I don't mean Andre methane. I'm talking about, propane Hank Hill level. Well, those the Hogan story where Andre farted in the cockpit of the plane. Whatever it was, like either he wanted to see the cockpit or the pilots wanted to meet him. Say Andre's in the cockpit and he just rips one, and the pilots are about to just gag and collapse. And Hogan was like, "Andre, you can't do that shit. They're gonna wreck the plane." Yep. Which normally Hulk Hogan tells a story I call bullshit if his mouth is moving, but I believe that when it being Andre, because as Gino Hogan said, "Big man, big fart."
I miss WWE story time with the animated stories and all that. I love the Andre one where he's sitting on Jake or it wasn't sitting on Jake, he was sitting on Hacksaw or something, or it was one of them, but it had to do with the farts, and then he was doing the Princess Bride.
In the elevator. I remember one story in the elevator when he ripped one. Well, there was a Hacksaw story with Andre. Hacksaw had just gotten to the WWF, or Andre was doing a shot for Mid-South when Hacksaw was still down there. But Andre had a notoriety for not washing his gear,
right?
And he had the singlet, and he took the singlet down, and he was choking Hacksaw with it. And Hacksaw said it was just dripping giant juice. Yeah. And he said that he's like, yeah, that was the best rib Andre ever pulled on me.
Yeah.
Choked me out with his singlet and made me gag on giant juice.
and it was sad. The disgusting story that I really hope that wasn't true was when Andre had to go to the bathroom. That was just that sounded so sad. But it was also so disgusting at the same time.
Which one was that?
He said that Andre couldn't use a normal toilet because if he sat on it would collapse, it would break. And so
on an airline.
Yeah, in airlines or even in hotel rooms, it's like the bed can't hold him, the toilet can't hold him. He can't fit into a car.
Well, I remember the airline one. I don't remember about a hotel where a toilet collapsed.
Well, Jake Roberts said that when he had to go to the bathroom, he had to use the bathtub.
Oh man!
I don't want to get too gross, but
Stafford's getting sent to the back.
We lost Stafford.
Oh no!
He got hit hard.
Holy shit!
And he almost got spiked. Oh, this could do it for the Rams. He's going to the back, holding his ribs. Oh no!
He got fooked.
He is hurt.
Raymond has a very good point. If that was Patrick Mahomes that got hit like that, that would have been.
Oh, if that was Patrick Mahomes, that got to be suspended. If it was Brady, he'd be executed at dawn.
Yeah, I was about to say, if it was Brady or Mahomes, that would have been flagged, fined. But because it wasn't one of those
impaled. forced to fornicate with Rosie
Oh.
O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah, he's got to have a broken rib.
I've
He
had
is-
broken ribs before. They are the most painful thing I've ever had to endure. Every move, every breath,
Oh yeah.
you are just in agony. Oh, well, while this is on a commercial, Cap's going to relieve some ballast.
This game is getting more and more interesting now.
Yeah.
Oh, doggy break. What commercial is this?
So with Stafford hurt, who would be the quarterback coming in for them?
Mark Rippon.
Rippin'.
Mr. Grip It and Rip It.
Grip it and ripping.
At Stafford, 16 of 22 for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 sacks. Jared Goff at 19 and 22, 245, 1 touchdown, 2 sacked twice. So far, that's pretty almost even. That's pretty close.
Here's an interesting stat from the weekend. Jordan Love, 16 of 20 for 272, 3 TDs, 158.3 passer rating. CJ Stroud, 16 of 21, 274 yards, 3 TDs, 157.2 passer rating.
Almost identical stats.
Yeah.
For 2 quarterbacks starting their first playoff game.
Yeah, like that's unreal.
And to know that one of them is a 22-year-old rookie.
Yeah. Well, Love is basically,
He's basically a rookie.
Yeah, he didn't do anything before this season of any note. So.
The Night Court reboot.
No thanks.
No?
That is killing me.
My brother Renegade, he loved Night Court. Night Court was one of his favorite shows.
I loved it as a kid.
Oh yeah,
I loved it as a kid, which is why I don't want to see it as an adult.
I got you.
I don't want the nostalgia ruined.
No,
I got
some
you.
things you don't remake because it's likely not going to go well. They tried it with WKRP. That didn't work.
Yeah.
I never got into WKRP in Cincinnati. I never got it. I never could get into it.
They tried it with. They just recently tried it with Quantum Leap. That's not working.
I was okay with it, but then I lost interest.
Yeah, I loved the first one.
I loved
First
Quantum
one's
Leap.
really
That was
well
one of my favorite shows in the '90s. I loved Quantum Leap.
Did Sam ever make it home?
Not in the original series, no.
No. Well, it was supposed to be another
I have a
year.
feeling, though, if they do let that happen in the reboot, then that's a problem.
Carson Wentz is the backup.
Carson Wentz is the backup. Get out there, Carson.
I'm sure everyone in Los Angeles just breathed a sigh of relief. I really liked Wentz at one point. I really did. I don't know if it was a him problem, a Peterson problem, a Philadelphia problem.
The Rams defense, if Wentz is in at quarterback, has to step up big time here and hold Detroit off. Because Wentz is not going to match Jared Goff.
No.
I mean, Matthew Stafford. Or you mean, match Jared Goff.
So what's going to go on the field?
Oh, boy. Have they ruled Stafford out? Is he on a gurney? Is he...
He's still in the
They
medical
went
tent.
to I was gonna say he was at the blue tent, but they haven't updated anything yet.
They're not going to make a
Oh.
report probably till the fourth quarter.
Stafford's out of the tent,
Got a ball in his hand and his helmet on.
so he looks like he's gonna.
He's being
Oh, he's
evaluated.
in considerable pain.
He's been evaluated for a ruptured spleen, and a fractured vertebrae, but he's going to try and go back out there. Stafford's tough as you can see. Just look, he is a tough as nails guy, but he is hurting like hell. I think they take him in that blue tent, and that's where they shoot him up with those horse tranquilizers. Those Ben Roethlisberger spinach pills. You remember that, Stat Boy? You remember that Sunday night game? It was Week 1, Packers Bears. Rodgers got hurt very early, and then he came back at halftime, and they won the game. And then the post game, they're holding the mic up to his mouth, and there's like, and his eyes are just, it's like, I hurt my knee. Yeah. Went in there, they took care of me. But came back, we won the game. It's like, yeah, pal. Might want to.
What a story that was.
You got some Narcan on you.
This season was this was going to be the Jets season, and it just went downhill from there.
Because they're the Jets.
Because they're the Jets, and his only thing that kept him relevant this season was Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, that was it. It was all Pat McAfee on this Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Anything to get. So we're not going to forget about Aaron Rodgers. He's a legend. Okay, he's not Brady. He's the number 2 guy. Brady and Rodgers, 1 and 2. That's simple. We're not going to forget about him.
I would even put Rodgers third behind Manning. Peyton, not the other one.
I got you. But Pat McAfee, great guy. I love Pat McAfee.
We do too. Love him.
I see a lot of myself in Pat McAfee in his early shows where it looked like he was broadcasting out of a closet. And now he's got the Thunderdome. And he's got all the wrestling memorabilia on there, and he needs a pretty good wardrobe change because I'm tired of the tank tops. He's got
he's never gonna ditch the tank. Never ever. It ain't happening.
And
that's his thing.
Yeah. And I love how he puts the disclaimer up and before it's like, it may be ESPN, but we're gonna swear. Swearing on live television was a cardinal sin until whenever, I don't know, until the internet probably, because then when you're streaming, you can say whatever you want because you're paying for it.
Oh yeah.
Well, I would say it goes back to the Attitude Era. Wrestling changed that about television because I remember growing up as a kid, you never heard anything more than an ass or a hell or a damn on television. And then once the Attitude Era hit, it was like
you couldn't break the 7 deadly words. That was a across
shit,
the board.
Fuck, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits.
Exactly. You cannot say that. You can't. But even on pay-per-view, it would slip once in a while. But still, they're paying for it. But even Vince probably still wanted to play it safe and just, hey, let's play it safe. Go out and do whatever you want, but just be cool about it, And then Miss Kitty, woo, there you go.
Or even Sable's bikini contest.
Yeah.
Well, even a year or two before that, when Tammy Sitch, now Florida inmate number 2356Q879, I remember back in the day, I was just, getting close to hitting puberty, and Sonny was like, "Oh, wait a minute, what's going on down here?"
Yeah.
Maggie's running around like an absolute loon.
Yeah, so the whole Sonny Sable thing, they were the top.
I love Sonny because she was a good manager. She understood the business. She got it up. Sable just wanted to be a star. She just wanted to be, Sonny actually loved the business, came up, through what little bit of an old territory system there was at that point. Sable just wanted to, be Desperate Housewives or whatever.
It all started with Miss Elizabeth, and then it came into Sherry, and then Sapphire, And then Sonny came into it. Then Sable came into it. By then,
Well, Elizabeth had class. Elizabeth was classy. Sherry was.
By then, the Miss Elizabeth days were gone. And then we got Tori and Stacy and.
Well, even before you're forgetting, in between Elizabeth and Sherry, you had. Excuse me. You had Missy Hyatt. You had Baby Doll. You had they pushed it a little bit further, and then you got Sonny, Sable. But people always seem to forget about Missy Hyatt and Baby Doll.
Right.
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
And then
no medical timeout. What the hell? So Stafford is in the game.
Out. Yeah, he's back playing.
Yeah,
he's in.
Back. He's okay. He's good to go.
Well, in theory.
He's looking up.
There's Kyron.
That's a decent run for Kyron.
Well, you got to add Davey back. Oh, Davey Jungle Boy Perry has returned. Where's the armband?
It's being shipped from Tokyo. So.
I was thinking if it was Davey. I was thinking if it was Davey, it would be a Tim Hortons armband.
I've heard so much about Tim Hortons. I want to try them so bad.
Quite good.
Davey rocks a Tim Hortons at least once or twice a week on the show.
See, out here in Sevier County, we don't have good old-fashioned mom and pop donut shops anymore. I mean, we have Krispy Kreme, but everyone's had Krispy Kremes. But I miss the good old-fashioned mom and pop place. Well, he can throw. The other guy can't catch, but he can throw.
And you being a hockey fan, you would be familiar as to who Tim Horton is, I would imagine.
Not offhand, but I do know how popular he is. I'll do my homework on that one, I promise.
Defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres. Way back, early 70s and 60s.
There you go.
I do miss those days, Mike. I grew up in a small town. When I was a kid, it was maybe 10, 12,000 people. And we had one local bakery that did the donuts, that did the pastries, did the birthday cakes. And whenever you were a kid and you saw that Paul's Bakery box, you knew you were getting something awesome. It was there was a little mom and pop grocery store called Sherman's. And if it was either Sherman's Bakery or Paul's, you were getting something good. Good God.
Dang,
the Rams
you have a long left?
The Rams have just used their second timeout, and it's not even 13 minutes left in this quarter, I don't believe.
Ethel Merman sounded better on her deathbed.
I think the Rams are giving up.
Eminem is in attendance. Barry Sanders is in attendance. Benjamin Clapcap, 66th year as Lions season ticket. Good God.
Goody, I get to brave the cold as the family comes home with groceries. In the fourth quarter, list.
Puka gets the first down.
And then some.
First and 10 on their own 36, second and 9 on their own 37.
And Dave's still a play ahead of us.
Future Dave.
Wait, so what if you and I were both watching a Japan show at the same time? Since they're beyond the international date line, would that mean I would be a little bit ahead of you?
No, because of the metric system.
Oh, come on. What the fuck does that have to do with it?
No, because the up-to-date, you would have to essentially what you would have to do with football or any sport, right?
I don't even know what the international date line is.
The international date line the international date line, it actually falls between a little island between Alaska and Russia. It's a little bitty tiny island, but the actual international date line falls right down the middle of this tiny uninhabited island out west of Alaska.
And then it heads south until it hits Yemen.
Yeah,
right, and then it goes west.
It's not a straight line.
Yeah, so everything goes through Yemen.
And if you believe Hulk Hogan, he wrestled 400 days in 1 year because of all his Japanese flying across the international.
I know where the time zone line is between Central and Eastern time zones in Tennessee. I've crossed that a couple times. I did get to go to Bridgestone Arena to see the Preds play the Wild last 2 seasons ago, and so we crossed over. My mama lives in Mount Juliet, which is 3 hours away. So we went out there and we visited her, and I'm like, "Oh, we lose an hour." She's like, "Yeah, you cross the time zone." I'm like, "That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that."
Yeah, Tennessee is pretty much split down the middle, isn't it?
Yeah. And then
if you drive from Arkansas into Oklahoma, you lose a century.
Of course, I've spoken to people in Tennessee, and they weren't aware of this time zone thing either.
Yeah,
because I'd asked them, it's like, which time zone are you in? What do you mean? It's like, we just have two of them there.
Central Tennessee is Central, Eastern Tennessee is Eastern. That's all you gotta remember.
Like, I'm a Canadian boy on the East Coast of Canada, and even I know that. And you live
it's a little east of Nashville. It's where the Eastern time zones. It's a little east of Nashville. Kyron had a couple of good runs on this drive.
1st and 10, Rams on the Detroit 35.
Isn't there
Rams on the Detroit
Captain, how many cigarettes you had so far?
As many as I need.
Stafford to Nakua, 22-yard gain. 1st and 10, Detroit 13-yard line.
Oh, come on. Do not screw this up, Detroit.
Oh, they will.
This is what Davey's been talking about all fucking weekend.
Yeah, all season.
And I've seconded Davey on this. I don't leave Cap out in the cold. It's cold enough here already.
That's right.
Down to the 9-yard line.
13.
13?
Yeah. And yes, Captain was on my coattails with this theory all year. So yeah.
I wasn't on the coattail. I was riding shotgun. Okay. If we were on a stagecoach, you were driving the horses. It's like, I was the shotgun guard. You were steering the horses, but I was right there with you.
You were like Henry Jones, and I was Indiana. 2nd and 11 on the 14.
I was thinking more, Andy Devine and God, who was the sheriff in that movie Stagecoach? It was 1939. It was John Wayne's breakout performance. Anywho, lost to Gone with the Wind.
3rd and 8 on the Detroit 11. I could be Andy Griffiths and you could be Don Knotts. Is that okay?
Well, no, that would mean I'm driving the motorcycle and you're sitting in the sidecar.
Well, as long as you're Don Knotts. Because you're eventually going to turn
still there, brother? Where are you?
Yes, I am. I'm right here.
You are eventually going to turn into Mr. Furley. So.
Attaboy, Luther.
There he is.
Here I am.
Okay.
Wait, so if you're the ghost, does that make me Mr. Chicken? I mean, where are we going to draw the line here?
So I need Kyron Williams to rush for 20 yards.
I thought you were a little fruity.
I need Kyron Williams to run for 20 yards. I need Jamison Williams to receive.
I just want the goddamn Rams to win this game.
Did you put money on
Rams
this?
ain't winning this game.
Matty puts money on everything.
I always have money on the games.
Oh.
You remember the old line from this? Homer, if it moves, you can bet on it. That's Matty. If it moves, he's betting on it. 18 straight Sunday parlays this season, and he lost every goddamn one of them.
Not all the parlays. I got a couple wins, but not
No,
off of big
the
parlays.
Sunday fun day parlays. You made 18 of them and lost every fucking one.
I made 17. I was gone for 1 week.
He's also finished dead last in our fantasy baseball league 2 years in a row.
I can't bet on baseball either. That's almost impossible.
Well, yeah. If you're Pete Rose, it's almost beyond impossible. It's indictable, incarcerable. Anyway, where the hell were we? Oh yeah, I'm riding shotgun. Davy's booby trapping a ghost house. Maddie's betting on which fish is going to get adopted next. I've lost track here.
You never know, man. It's that goldfish with the red eye. Huh.
Oh boy. This is the guy who actually has the numbers and the information on my debit card. This is who I trust with this info.
And I have never once put your money towards anything.
No, you haven't. It's
okay. I can one up you with that. My co-host on the sports bar, Dory Lou, she has my PIN number to my debit card.
Maddie's got the card number, the security code, because my account pays for our StreamYard, but Maddie is like our CFO. He handles all our purchasing. It just goes through my account.
And speaking of which, I think I see her coming in, so I'm going to have to turn my camera off real quick. I'll keep you guys.
No worries.
All right.
Bring the groceries. You'll probably hear them.
Oh,
almost a touchdown for the Rams.
CJGJ.
CJGJ.
CJ Gardner Johnson.
4th and 8.
No PI.
So down by 4.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't PI.
That
was good. That was a good contest. If anything, Cooper pushed off.
Rams kicked the field. Mara kicked a 29-yarder, so it's 20.
Well, I was just about to ask: are they going to kick a field goal or go for it?
So it's 24-23 Lions.
Once again,
that was the second kick that Maher has almost missed.
Buckeye Newshawk Award winner Davey, once again, one play ahead of everybody else. Ugh. That was not a pretty kick, but it went through.
Oh my goodness.
I feel so weird. My hair hasn't been this short in 2 years.
Yeah, your hair has not been that short in a long time. Like since the first time we met in St.
Louis. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. I look like I did back when I was like 34.
Need to pee. No, why you run away? Rain, come back.
He's lost the kitty.
Yeah, the kitty went meow and ran away.
Maddie, you really should do the Sideshow Bob thing for the Halloween show next year.
Dude, my hair could totally go up and to each side.
Do dye it red and then have Alora put enough stuff in it to where it, does the Sideshow Bob thing. Then we just buy some rakes for you to walk into.
Ray Williams asks, should the Bears keep Fields or should they draft a quarterback in the draft?
Keep Fields.
They have the first overall pick. Keep Fields, trade that pick for draft capital and potentially another weapon like they did with DJ Moore.
I say they trade it, and here's why. Because Caleb Williams has already said if the Bears keep that first pick and draft him, he will not play for them.
Well, if I was Caleb Williams, I would accept the fact that I'm not going first 5 in the draft.
If I was the Bears, I'd keep Fields and draft Harrison.
Yeah. Get a good wide receiver.
But would you
I don't
really
th-
want
a
to
wide
draft a
receiver,
wide
I don't
receiver
think
number
is
one
the
overall?
answer.
Fine, guys.
I don't think a wide receiver is the answer for the Bears.
They need another weapon, man. DJ Moore can't be the only one doing it.
Well, they've got the tight end. What's his name?
Komet.
Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet. They've got DJ Moore. They've got deep running backs. I mean, I don't think a wide receiver is the answer. I think they need other pieces. I would, if I know if I draft Caleb, he's not going to play for us. I would trade that pick and get more picks for it to fill more holes that I needed.
Caleb Williams has major fucking headache written all.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes. I am going to ride shotgun with you on that one, Davey. He has got major headache.
He is the poster child or problem child.
Whoever drafts him, good luck. You are going to have buku fucking issues dealing with that head case.
I don't want to put this out there because it would be horrible to wish this upon any quarterback. But
AIDS?
with the way that he's acting, I'm really worried that Caleb Williams could be the next Manziel.
Worse. He could be worse.
Last week.
Watson? He could be the next Deshaun Watson?
No. We don't wish that upon anybody. We don't want anybody to do that.
Well, we don't want anyone to be on the receiving end of Watson.
Well, we said worse than Manziel.
Well, see, Manziel was a head case, but in a different way. Caleb doesn't have substance issues. Caleb has Caleb issues. There's a difference. This isn't powered by all-night partying and trips to Vegas and cocaine. This is just triggered by him being a horse's ass.
That's also because Manziel sold his name as a college player before he was even in football, like NFL.
And Caleb Williams is making so much money off of his name in college right now.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Manziel came from money. Manziel came from a very wealthy Texas oil family. Caleb, I'm not sure what his upbringing is, but I know he's not the son of a Texas oil millionaire. He's getting a taste of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, da at an early age, and it's going straight to his friggin' head.
Should the Bears keep Fields or get a quarterback in the draft? Get a quarterback in the draft.
Trade that trade the number one pick and get some other things because Caleb, like I said, Caleb isn't going to play for him.
You got much better quarterbacks than Caleb Williams in this draft, to be fair.
Well, I think from what I'm understanding, there's going to be 5 quarterbacks likely to go in the first round. Caleb, Drake,
Penix Jr.,
the kid from LSU,
and J.J. McCarthy from
no, not J.J., the kid from Oregon, I think. McCarthy. I'm seeing him projected as like a 3rd round quarterback.
Yeah, Leslie McCarthy, I think, was the kid from Michigan.
Yeah. So there's 5 quarterbacks likely to go in the first round.
Oh, come on! Don't call intentional grounding on that.
It's 3rd and 4 Lions on their own 31.
So if you could just throw a 20-yard dot to my boy Jameson Williams, if you could do that in the end zone as well, Goff, that'd be great.
4th and 4.
Fuck.
So they'll be punting it back. Now, interesting of note here, in the first quarter, the Lions outscored the Rams 14-3. Since then, in the second quarter, Detroit has been outscored 14-7. 3-3 in the third, and they're being outscored 3-0 in the fourth. So everything we said they do, they're doing.
Yep.
Someone asked Shaq on if he could ever be the Lakers coach. He was like, "No, never. If I tell you to do something and you just don't do it, I'm gonna smack you."
Well, someone as big as Shaq, if he told me to do something, I'm likely going to do it because that man has. I'm 6'4", and that guy's at least 8 to 10 inches taller than I am. So I'm probably going to listen to him.
Lions punted. They pinned the Rams on their own 9.
The kick returner almost bobbled it too.
Yeah.
So the Rams got a long field to work with, but they only need a field goal to go ahead. Lions got 3 timeouts. Rams got 1.
Oh, God, he almost bobbled that.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
oh my God!
We
They're
see
gonna-
Coach
they're gonna
Prime
ruin
getting
this,
any
man.
NFL
No.
upset?
Not this year.
Coach Prime needs to have a winning season. Let's not forget he went, what was it, 4-8?
Yeah, he didn't do the
But
best.
the CU Buffs were 1-11 the year before.
Yes, he increased their wins by 3, but it still was not a successful season unless you're talking about eyeballs.
Those eyeballs are bringing a lot more talent to the school this year.
Yeah, and I think they probably go 500. I think they go 6-6 this year. It's you don't rebuild a program that was on its ass like that overnight. It takes 3-4 years. That's
Not everybody can't rebuild things in a week.
No.
Yep. One thing.
Go ahead.
Nick Namath looks completely re-energized. I wish this had happened 10 years ago with him when he was in his mid-30s.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
He's still in incredible shape. He's in his mid-40s now, but
yes, Ray, and about damn
to have
time.
like that young Dolph Ziggler wrestle TNA's fucking AJ Styles and deal with that old circuit of the X Division, wrestlers that they had go to New Japan and fight.
If he was doing 10 years ago what he's doing right now, mind you, the wrestling landscape would have to be like it is now 10 years ago, and it wasn't. But the run he would have had would have been epically good. I think it's still going to be good, but just a little shorter.
What is it? I mean, what kind is it?
Well, it's just going to make you think what could have been. What if?
Well, he had a phenomenal career, despite the kind of in and out booking that he had.
I think Buccaneers take the Eagles and the Bills take the Steelers tomorrow.
That's my pick. I'll tell you that right now because they were saying, "Oh, the Packers are playing with house money; they shouldn't be there." I think the Eagles shouldn't be there. They just went downhill fast.
Maybe the last 4 to 6 weeks, they should take themselves out behind the barn, old Yeller style.
So
that team has gone to shit.
They just systematically started to self-destruct week after week after week. It's kind of sad to see. It was one of those teams, like I said, like throughout our broadcasts on Sunday, right? Sometimes the record is not indicative of the team.
And sometimes the team is not indicative of the record.
Yeah, look at that. He's wrapped up good.
1st and 10 Rams on their own 45. Stafford to Nakua for a 35-yard gain.
Well, thanks for spoiling it for me, Davey.
That's what I do.
We got to sync up if we're going to continue this stuff. We got to sync up. somehow.
You guys gotta get in a Yahoo league. That's what I'm doing. Join a Yahoo league. Bring up Stat Tracker.
I don't
I
want to go to Canada. It's too
I
cold.
just saw a tweet go out. Who will be the best quarterback here in the next 5 years? C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, or Anthony Richardson? We didn't really see much from Richardson
Stroud.
this year, but
Sticking with my
Well,
boy.
Based on what I've seen, Stroud so far.
I'm going with Purdy.
Richardson, I'm gonna give an NA just because I didn't get to see enough of him. Purdy is gonna be good. I think ultimately, given what we've seen this year, and I'm going to do this strictly based off organizational stability, I'm going to say Jordan Love, because while I've loved watching CJ Stroud this year, I think the kid has performed phenomenally. This is also Houston. This team could fuck up an anvil. Green Bay at least has a history of doing things right. Houston has.
Oh, Tyler Higbee got hit fucking hard.
Yep.
Oh shit!
Oh,
He landed on his
the
head.
knee. Oh my god!
Holy Scheissenhofer!
That is a bad
Don't
hit. He's
flex,
able to
Detroit,
walk on that
don't-
leg.
Oh, mother!
He's
God!
able to walk on that leg.
Oh, that's not supposed to happen.
Oh, the human body is not meant to bend that way.
Can't finish it.
How is he walking?
No, he's walking off.
Good God!
On power.
He's in a lot of fucking pain, but yeah, he walked off under his own power. What a fucking dog. He's holding that knee, though.
Holding his knee, he's lucky he can hold anything.
Go ahead and puke. It's okay, dude. Go ahead. You're allowed.
Oh, my Lord, bro.
Sweet Jesus. Well, then, that's making
Prayers
my
up to
fried
Tyler
chicken settle well.
Prayers up to Tyler Higbee. Hopefully he's okay after that hit.
I thought he was going to puke right there.
Ooh.
And we got a 3rd and 4 on the Detroit 34-yard line. So that's a 52-yard field goal if they don't advance it any further.
Holy shit, am I caught up with Davey? I'm at 3rd and 4 too.
So am I.
Good God.
I'm caught up somehow.
I'm caught up to Davey.
Don't
What's
know
your
how.
timestamp?
Stafford throws it
Davey's
complete. He's going to be down at about the 36.
Oh.
Flag.
Rams with a 10-yard penalty for a holding. That's huge.
Oh.
13 on the Detroit
Well, so
40.
much-
Come on.
Because
We'll
I'm
get
getting
a
the play
punt.
right about now.
Dev, I am at 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 15 seconds.
I just saw the flag being thrown. I'm at 4:17 left in the 4th.
Oh, God, that is a. Oh.
That's a bad penalty for them.
You're going to throw that flag right there?
That's not a hold.
It's 3rd and 14, though. They've got one more chance, actually.
I've held many things tighter, and I've got the carpal tunnel to prove it.
It clicked.
What is going on?
What in the? Are they reviewing the? Are they reviewing the review? Are they?
They
Is
reset the
ref
game
gonna
clock.
fucking hike the ball?
They reset the game clock. That's all they did.
Or is
And
the-
now there's a timeout.
does the ref want to
Bye.
hike the ball? What the fuck?
What's going on here?
And
We've got- have we
and
gone
then
from what-
Dan Campbell getting pissed off.
Did you say Dan Campbell or Glenn Campbell? Because one of them's dead.
He said Dan.
Okay. Is that guy doesn't look like a Wichita lineman or a rhinestone cowboy.
Good old DC. But when I think of DC, I think of Daniel Cormier.
Like
No
a
way.
rhinestone
Time on the
cowboy.
clock is correct.
Ryan,
You fucking hike the ball, ref?
Yeah, are we gonna get a play here? Are we gonna get something?
They're
All
just trying to get everything put together. That's all they're
Stafford
trying to do.
incomplete pass, 4th and 14.
Dude, come on!
Jeez.
4th and 14 on the Detroit 44. Out of field goal range. 4:20 left. Only one
Davey,
timeout.
come
for the
on,
Rams.
man. You're playing spoiler. That's yours.
They look like they were trying to do the fucking
I just saw
Ascension
them play
little tag
now.
team stream. On Puka.
That could have been pass interference.
Should have
on
been.
Luka.
He was
He was holding him the entire time.
He had him by the pants.
trying to fucking.
No, he's not the punter from Philly.
Yeah.
And that was from the front. That was just straight, grasp, clasp, and go full
Why
on
didn't
ass.
you fair catch it?
I don't know. Maybe he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Come on, Detroit.
Run, not run out of bounds.
Come on, Detroit.
I think that drive may have been. I think that may have been a bit of a backbreaker for the Rams. That holding penalty and then that missed PI.
This is going to be the longest 4 minutes of the game. I'll tell you that right now. And I didn't mean to. If I upset Davey about calling him out on that, I'm sorry.
Oh, trust me, Davey's incapable of becoming upset.
Law and Order, Organized Crime. I don't think I've seen that one before.
How many fucking reboots of a fucking show do they have to do? Jesus Christ.
The
Well,
fact
look at
that
NCIS.
SVU is still going.
I mean, SVU was okay once upon a time. The original Law and Order was okay the first,
He has a fucking point.
few seasons. I mean, anything can be good for a little while. Just ask my prom date. But at some point in the night, things are going to go to shit.
Like Alora said, there's always going to be rape. There's always going to be victims and shit like that. So it's like sports. There's always going to be something to make a new episode on.
You're comparing Law and Order SVU to the Penn State sex scandal?
Well, yes. Why not? Let's throw in
Sweet
Penn
Jesus.
State like the fucking South Park children's counselor.
Boy, we have gone off the rails.
When don't we ever go off the rails?
I know, but usually we don't go off the rails till about, I don't know, hour 5 or so.
Well, we got
To be fair, we're getting near the 3-hour mark.
Okay, we're about halfway
We're
there.
not getting fucked yet. So
Good God. That holding penalty, God, that was a killer. The refs could have made up for it had they called PI, but they stopped Montgomery at about the 8:19.
Come on, Detroit. They have one timeout. Run them down.
I don't know why the Rams decided to waste all of their shit in the first 13 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Dude, they called a timeout in the middle of the third quarter.
Detroit sucks. Shut your mouth, boy.
Go Ravens.
Go Ravens! Yes!
Ravens.
That's not
Go
so
Ravens!
You stay out of this.
Go Ravens!
That's next week.
Papa Kaka. And first down,
You're being
Lions.
broadcast right now.
Yes, everything you say can and will be held against you in a court of insanity.
That is Dory Lou's son, Tyler.
Hello.
Hello, Tyler. Looks like Sami Zayn hiding behind a Rubbermaid container.
Just hold on to the ball and you win. It's that simple.
Come on, Detroit.
Sometimes the simplest things aren't that easy. I didn't even learn how to tie my shoes till the 6th grade.
You got me beat. I wore Velcro shoes till I was 12.
You cheating son of a bitch.
You cheating son of a bitch.
Hey, I ain't afraid to admit it. I don't care.
Were any of you guys? Did any of you guys wear wheelies?
The Heelys.
The Heelys?
No.
I mean the shit with the lights in the back.
No, the like little singular skateboard wheel on the
I
bottom of
hated
the
those
shoe.
things. I saw them. I'm like, that thing will.
I remember those were a thing for about 2
He's
weeks.
got a
And
pair.
then
They were big when we were kids.
Yeah.
in my childhood, I was a Reebok guy. In my teens and early 20s, I was a Converse guy. Then I switched to Nikes when I was about 25.
I was a
Thought so,
Payless Shoe Source guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Shaqs.
Well, where I lived, there was a we would drive to Branson
Right.
once every summer from Fayetteville to Branson, or from Van Buren to Branson, and they had like a wholesale thing where we would get like all my school clothes for the year for like half price, whatever.
Yep.
So you,
But I always but I think by the time I got into high school, we had to start like ordering because I wear a size 14, and most stores only carry like 12s around here for whatever reason. So I had to start ordering
Yes, I
shoes.
will gladly share the seating arrangements. Well, give me a second to get everything squared away so you can introduce yourself to the wonderful podcasting people here that I've made my debut on. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the co-host of That Boy Sports Bar. This is Dory Lou. This is my partner.
Hey, Dory.
Nice to meet you, Dory.
Number.
Oh, how's everyone doing?
hanging in there.
We're hanging on by the skin of our skin at this point. This game it's been a true test of emotion, will, bladder control, you name it.
I just need Detroit to win here.
Well, I know that I tried to listen to a little bit of the the Green Bay Dallas game while I was at work, and I had to shut it off.
I was gonna say, you listened to the autopsy.
I had to shut it off.
Actually, no, that's being nice. That wasn't an autopsy. That was a post-mortem. That was an embalming.
Hey, to be fair, dude, they still brought it back within 16 points, which is much more than the Browns could say.
Yeah, definitely. Don't look at my notebook.
Well, the stats are your thing, and I'm just.
Yeah, well, you don't need to look at any of my stats right now or see what my picks were.
So if
Oh yeah, I got
the Rams can get a stop
kept
here.
this quiet the whole time. She is the reigning
first down, Detroit.
the reigning regular season pick'em champion for 3 years in a row.
Damn.
Impressive.
And is
Put
that
her in
just
a
who
sports
wins
book?
and loses throughout the seasons?
You could make millions.
So she's like the female version of Sam Ace Rothstein from Casino.
There you go. Well, not with the handicapping, just picking the winners. We don't do
Well,
the
that's what he said. And remember at the end, he's like, I could still pick winners.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. 62.8% is what we talked about.
Something like that.
Yeah, 62.8% probability in getting the right answer. That's good enough for me. 171 out of 272.
If I'd have had that kind of average, I would have only taken 3 years to graduate high school.
This guy is amazing. He is throwing out things left and right, though. You got to see the replay.
Oh
on
yeah,
this.
Cap is.
Cap is quick with it. Cap is quick with it.
Oh.
I'm good with catchphrases.
Yeah, Devin, you are our catchphrase king on the channel.
Was that game?
Not yet.
That's
I'm
going
at
to
a
be
minute
pretty close.
54 to go.
If the Rams get it back, they ain't going to have a whole hell of a lot of time.
They have no
I think the
timeouts.
Lions did it. They have no more timeouts.
He took a knee. That's got to be it.
Yeah, we're getting victory formations.
Yes, I did take.
Oh, hell, I took a knee at my mother's funeral. That doesn't mean anything.
See? Like I said,
Well, the priest came by offering the wine and whatever, Oh, wait, no, that was my confirmation. You know what? It all runs together. Funerals, confirmations, baptisms, circumcisions. You never know.
Let's go, Detroit. I am so happy.
So, Maddie, are you actually going to make any money when this clock hits 000?
No, you want to know why? Because they didn't throw it to Jameson Williams.
One more knee, and Detroit has done something they have not done since I was 6 years old, and that is win a playoff game.
wow.
Let's go, Detroit.
DC is crying and trying not to show it.
Matt Stafford was one of the first people for the Rams out there to start congratulating people. That's awesome.
You're fucking better.
Longest losing streak in NFL playoff history. First postseason, 1991. I was 4 years old. Jesus Christ.
I was not even a twinkle in my dad's nutsack.
1991? Really?
1991.
See, you're graduated high school.
91. I was 4 years old. HW was still in office. The Gulf War was raging.
My mom was 12 years old.
I was taking shots with the guys at the VFW.
Okay, now y'all making me feel really old.
I
Oh wait, I am that old.
Well, I've always been told that I'm a 60-year-old man inside of a 30-year-old's body.
Well, I know for many years I've been told that I'm simply an old soul. So there you
Yeah, old soul. Yeah.
I'm in Raw with the blue hair.
So next week, that means we get Lions and
49ers.
Lions 49ers.
I don't think we get Lions 49ers. 49ers get the lowest.
The lowest.
Yeah, isn't the Lions the
Oh, okay, so
lowest
that
team?
means it would be.
Oh, it'd be the Buccaneers.
They would get the if the Buccaneers win, they get the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So who do the Lions get?
The Lions get the number 2 team.
Which would be the.
Or no, they get the number. It'd be San
Aren't they the
Francisco,
number
Green
2
Bay, Detroit versus Houston. No,
No,
it's
Houston's
AFC.
AFC.
San Fran-
Houston's probably
So
playing
it'll be Detroit versus the winner of
Detroit
Tampa
versus-
Bay and Philly.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah.
Because San Francisco is guaranteed to play Green Bay.
And my Ravens are either playing the Texans or the Steelers if they beat the
Right.
Bills.
Let's say, how many Teamsters does it take to change a wheel? 7. What are you going to do? Huff about it?
Congratulations, Detroit. I am very happy with this outcome.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I'm waiting to get a message from Aaron.
Oh, Pop already put in his thoughts about
Yeah, me too.
Dallas. Pop already, and I called him immediately. I called him just before we went live. I'm like, he's like, there's 2 things I will not bet against. I will not bet against Tampa Bay winning, and I will not bet against Detroit winning as well, or something like
Or
that.
Dallas winning as
Or
well.
Dallas winning. Tampa Bay losing and Dallas winning. Those were the two things that'll never happen in his stuff. And at one point, he was a Vikings fan too, because he lived in Minnesota for 6 years.
All right, that's why I like Pop.
Well, I can say that me and Devin, I do have to get ready to take D home soon. So, Cap, I might let you take control of the sign off. On behalf of me and Devin, thank you guys so much, Stat Boy and Dory Lou, for coming
It was a
on.
pleasure meeting you all, and can't wait
Of course.
to feature.
And thank you for everybody who tuned in throughout the night. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Don't get arrested. Don't get pulled over in the state of Kansas. And
we're trying to put together the 10 commandments of the RAWBall podcast. So far, we got 5.
And I will see you all on Tuesday.
We're like Moses right now. We're like Moses right now. We're using a Post-it note instead of an actual scroll.
I got
It works.
I got you.
Davey, are you still alive, conscious, incoherent?
Still with you, yep.
Okay, we still got
Still
Davey.
Well, I mean, it's the with 2 games left to go, at least the Lions, they decided to take us out of the Twilight Zone because, the Cowboys are out, the Browns are out.
Now, if I can just get the Chiefs out of it, then I can rest.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I am smack dab in the heart between Cowboy and Chief country. If I can get rid of both of them, then I know at least once the Super Bowl's over, irregardless, I won't have to deal with, idiots to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am stuck in the middle with
you. Yep.
who the hell knows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can handle Royals fans. Their Double-A team is just 7 miles up the road from me. I go there regularly. It's fun. I can handle them.
No, we're in Titan country.
Oh, I'm so sorry about Vrabel.
Big country.
We're talking football right now, not hockey.
Well, I mean, I like Vrabel as a guy. How do I phrase? And I've got a soft spot for the Titans because I was a huge Steve McNair fan and Eddie George fan way back in the day. So I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Titans. They seem like a team that is just stuck in neutral.
Don't they, though?
Yeah.
They definitely are. So I understand.
Believe me, I grew up driving a stick shift. I know what it means to be stuck in neutral.
Ditto.
No clue.
Hey, there's a reason I failed my driving test 3 times in a row and we never left the parking lot.
No, the driving test I never had an issue with. The written test, on the other hand, is a different story.
Oh, the written test I passed the first time took me 3 tries to pass the actual driving test.
No, it took me 3 times to pass the written and once to pass the driving.
I know I haven't seen the movie A Man Named Otto. I want to see the movie all the way through. But Tom Hanks recently went on the Stephen Colbert show, and he would shun anybody that could not drive stick shift. I will have 2 left feet. I will let in on the clutch, let out of the gas, hit the brake, you're in first, and next thing you know, and all that.
It's a balance. It's sort of like being a chef or a puppeteer. You're working 3 and 4 things at a time, and it's one of those things. Once you get it, it takes a little while to get it, but once you do, you've got it. It takes practice.
Right.
Yeah. Oh wait, I already did that.
It's like Elizabeth Taylor. How many times did it take her to get marriage right? Okay, she tried it 7 times and fucked it up every time, but she still tried.
There you go.
Go ahead.
There you go. So let's see. I'm the chef.
Yeah.
I'm the chauffeur.
Yeah.
I'm the artist.
Yeah.
I'm the stat girl now also.
Yeah.
And crafter.
You're the CPA.
Jeez, Mike, you got lucky.
Yeah, too bad he's an annoying little brother.
Yeah, let the record show we're not in a relationship. We're not married. Although the first year we moved here, everybody would swear 88% of the time that we were together, and we had to politely tell them we are not a couple. We are best
One
friends.
word: Tennessee.
He's not
He's
wrong.
not wrong. Jinx.
Oh,
Jinx
bite
again.
me.
There's your boy St. Brown.
Yeah, well, I'm almost on Detroit stats, so I can see how good he did tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I spelled his name wrong.
It's like, they call it the Mississippi miss you. How can I miss you when you're always there at the family reunion?
Yep.
Yep.
Anywho,
How can
Lions
I
are
miss you? Walk
victorious.
away.
What?
Go ahead, Cap. Go ahead.
I was saying the Lions are victorious. They move on. I kind of feel a little sad for the Rams, but only a little, because early on in the year they had a chance to be better than their record is and to have a higher seed and potentially avoid a team like this. So Rams, ultimately, I think their wounds were self-inflicted, but my God, they had one hell of a season, and I enjoyed watching them. I liked watching this Rams team every week. There were very few teams. I've always loved Sean McVay. I love watching his teams play. They just
look at this guy crying. Look at him go. Look at that. Tears of joy. Tears of joy in Detroit.
he's in Detroit. He probably just got foreclosed on.
How about that? All right, so Detroit, step one complete. 3 more to go.
So tomorrow we've got Steelers at Bills, 3:30 Central Time, and then we have
Bills. I have it as Steelers.
Buccaneers Eagles. That's the Monday night 7 or 7:30 game.
Eagles at Bucks, yeah.
I'm taking Bills and Tampa Bay there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did too.
Davey, what were your picks there? You were going. I think you went Bills and Eagles.
No, we have Bills tomorrow and Tampa.
Okay, so yeah, you and I were on the same page there.
We're all across the same, because let's just face it, Philadelphia has gone downhill the last 3 or 4 weeks. So, I know it's fly, eagle, fly, but I don't want to say die, eagle, die. I don't like that chant. I really don't.
Philly could win the game on strictly sheer talent, although I understand A.J. Brown's not going to be playing. Philadelphia could Philly their way into this. They could just cheesesteak out of it. But I don't see a path to victory for the Steelers. I see a path to victory for Philly, but I just don't see how the Steelers win tomorrow. I don't, especially with Watt out. I mean,
yeah, without Watt, they're going to hurt really bad.
It's going to have to be like a Halley's Comet, Heaven's Gate cult mass suicide level thing for the Steelers to win this.
I mean, let's face it, the Pittsburgh fans are
ain't passing by anytime soon.
Pittsburgh has got to give thanks to Jacksonville, give thanks to the Lions, I think, as well, to give thanks to the Green Bay Packers. They got to thank everybody for getting them into the playoffs, because they couldn't have done it on their own. There's no way.
Let's put it this way: if this was an Oscar speech, they would be getting the hook.
Oh yeah,
long before their speech was done.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, since Dory said she's kind of a stat girl, Oscars are coming up. I'm kind of an Oscars fan. Do you follow the Oscar? Is that kind of a thing you look at at all?
Not in a very long time, because honestly, a lot of the stuff to me just is not worth my time.
Grant, I don't watch near as many movies as I used to. Although I understood at the Golden Globes, which is normally a decent half-ass predictor for the Oscars, Oppenheimer cleared up pretty good, and I love Christopher Nolan. I'm a history nerd. You can tell from the library behind me. I'm a nut for that stuff. So I would like to. Oppenheimer's the only movie of the bunch that I've seen this year that I was like, okay, I dug that.
Okay, now that's one I'm interested in seeing when I have the time to sit down and watch a movie, which doesn't happen a lot with my work schedule and cooking when I get home and everything else that I try to do.
It's a lot of. The older I get, I find out the less time I have to do anything.
Very true. Very, very true.
And I have to force myself to make time to do anything.
So I mentioned that I'm an artist. I've been teaching myself to draw better over the last 6 months. I still have a long ways to go to get to where I would like to be. I don't draw at home. I draw while I'm at work. My downtime at work is when I do all my sketching. I work for one of the big tourist traps out here. And
Tourist Trap, Seaverville, Tennessee. Oh, you work at Dolly World.
not anymore. He's there. I work for, you have to go up to Gatlinburg to find me.
Okay, Gatlinburg. I mean, I know the town. I'm just trying to think of what's there. I mean, nothing. Hey, I love Dolly.
Oh yeah,
I-
love Dolly, but
I-
yeah, it would take a lot for me to go back to Dollywood.
Well, there's a difference between working for someone and working at their theme park. It's like, okay, yes, I dig Bill Clinton, but would I want to work at his theme park? No way in hell.
No, I work for Ripley's Entertainment.
I got through college and sidestepped all the STDs. I don't want to go to Billy World and, wind up catching something that penicillin won't cure.
There you go.
And I'm allergic to penicillin, so I'm fucked. And not in a fun way.
Yeah, no lube.
Should I get out of the shot and just let you guys go?
So I work for Ripley's Entertainment, and when it's downtime, don't have any guests coming up or whatever, and I don't have any cleaning or something to do. If I'm not doing a word search or a Sudoku puzzle, I'm sketching.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the past 6 months, I've been doing a lot of pencil sketching, and vast improvements over from where I was in 2020 when I started kind of drawing again a little bit. And just from that, from when I started drawing back in June of this past year to now, is just some major changes.
My co-host Maddie, his fiance, she's an artist as well. Oh, very nice. What is that? Is that a jellyfish? Yeah. She does a lot of ink pen art. When they were down here last Labor Day, she actually did a sketch of my dog that's still hanging on my fridge.
Nice.
So yeah, she does the exact same type, but she does pens instead of pencil.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. This is all self-taught.
Oh, I'm still trying to learn how to write my name without something other than just the X,
I love it. I love it.
I like this guy. I really do.
Captain is the X Division champion, apparently.
Hey, in the South, that's not exactly the worst thing. I mean, you're in decent company. In the South, you either use 1X or 3X. You use 1 to write your name, 3 to have a drink.
We talked about every possible topic we could think of. We talked about all the sports. We talked about wrestling. Didn't talk how we moved to Tennessee. That's a little later story, but hey.
Hey, it's not how you get to Tennessee, it's how you get out of it.
We ain't getting out anytime soon. We got out of California. We're fine.
Yes.
Hey, Davy Crockett got out of Tennessee, but it didn't work out too well for him either.
No, it did not.
No, it did not.
We got out of Southern California, and it's a much better.
Whereabouts in SoCal?
Buena Park,
Orange County.
Okay, I've only passed through Los Angeles. I've spent my brother used to live in San Diego, and I went out there to visit him, and I really liked San Diego for the most part. I mean, I hate California, but I enjoyed a lot about San Diego.
There's a lot of good stuff in San Diego, but
it's like when I lived in Washington. I love the place, but I hated I couldn't stand the climate, the people, or the culture. It's like George Carlin said. He said, I feel a betrayal by only three sources: the religion, the nation, and the species. And I feel that way about the West Coast.
I used to spend my summers north of Seattle in a small town called Arlington.
Okay, I lived in Olympia.
Okay. So I was a little bit further north.
Yeah, Olympia is about 45 miles south of Seattle, Tacoma. Arlington, is that north of Seattle?
That's north of Seattle.
So that's just right about the Canadian border.
So it's about an hour north of Seattle.
Okay. Trying to remember my geography here without a map.
There's an app for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's an app for everything now except to make pancakes and tickle yourself in places you don't speak about at parties. But I try to think, okay, what a map, interstates, northeast, southwest.
Yeah, you just.
I got a 5-year-old nephew, and he's like really into like navigation and like maps and compasses, and it's like, kid, you're doing more at 5 than was able to at 35. Like, this is why your generation is going to wind up burying us, because you're going to figure out a way to get there quicker. Right?
No, because at 5 I was my dad's navigator. With
I grew up in the days of the Rand McNally Road Atlas.
Thomas
yeah, you'd go to, Mom would say, check the map.
Yep. I was my dad's navigator for quite a while until we got all this fancy dancy stuff.
Yeah,
I had the misfortune of watching City Slickers 2 at too young of an age, and it's not Billy Crystal. It's one of the actors says, whenever you're looking at a map, yes, north is always up. So I thought no, it wasn't Daniel Stern. It was the other one. But basically, he was saying, anytime you're going up, you're going north. You're going down, you're going south. But I took that as literal. So anytime we were going uphill, I said we were going north, and so it took me a little while.
Yeah, it was Daniel Stern, Billy Crystal, and John Lovitz in the second one.
It was John Lovitz that thought anytime you're going up, you're going north. Like, yes, on a map, but in reality, it took me a while to figure out John Lovitz, couldn't find his ass from his elbow. At least in that character.
I've worked with some of those people. Notice I said it's snowing in Crossville.
Wow. It looks so beautiful.
It is. It snowed here most of the day.
34 degrees up here in Cape Breton. Beautiful.
Is that Celsius?
Fahrenheit.
It is approximately.
Yep, 30.
Oh, we got a planes, trains, and automobiles. It's 1.
It is currently 30 degrees in Sevierville.
Yeah.
Well, what we're getting now, you'll be getting in about 24 hours. Unfortunately, it is.
Just as long as I can get to work tomorrow, I'll be okay.
And they've already had people start calling out because of the anticipated snow for work tomorrow. So I expect to get a phone call. Can you come in?
Well, I work from home, so unfortunately I can't call out from work unless I'm basically at death's door.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I couldn't work at home because I can't school myself enough to do what I need to.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my last job, I had to drive about 10 miles north of here, and I'd had a really bad accident here at home. I had a bad fall. I broke 2 ribs, my tailbone, and got a concussion. And while I could technically do my duties from home for that job, they're like, nope, we need you in. It's like, I'm laying here in the hospital with 3 broken bones and a concussion. It's like, well, we got to have you.
That's
like, well, okay, I'll be there, but I'm going to be under so much pain medication, you may have to wipe the drool off my chin.
Look at my Wolves.
109, 105. Timberwolves beat the Clippers.
Woohoo! Oh!
See? Minnesota girl. It's all
The last time
Bowling Green. Look at that.
The last time I followed basketball, was probably around 2011. I was still a Mavericks fan, but I haven't really followed the. I mean, I what I watched. I would watch the playoffs. Just socially with friends. I between baseball and football and what little bit of Premier League time I get, it's very tough for me to watch. I was telling Mike earlier, like if I wish I could get back into hockey because I loved it in like middle school, junior high, and then you know, uh, you know, you get keys to a car and you combine that with puberty, and things happen.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't had a chance to really sit down and watch. I have not watched a hockey game start to finish in probably 20 years.
Wow.
Which,
Well, the thing with hockey is, you've got to pay attention because it's not like baseball. It's not like football where you set up the play every time. You're in constant motion until the puck goes out of the rink or until a penalty gets called. Until then, the game does not stop unless it is forced to
yeah.
stop.
Well, that's why it's similar to soccer in that the clock doesn't. It keeps going.
Right.
The really, and I love that. I just wish I had time and knew who was what and what was doing this and who was cheating who's being true.
And
I'm quoting country lyrics to try to understand hockey. Jesus Christ.
I know that would be the only downside to doing a watch along with hockey because it's like you're constantly going and you literally get a 30-second stop when the penalty gets hit. When they will stop at least 3 times during a period to take a TV commercial.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get that, but other than that, you just keep going. And if you miss one thing, next thing you know, the puck is in the net, and you're like, "What the hell happened?"
I'd rather go watch them live than on TV for hockey games.
Yeah.
And I don't even have a team anymore because Mike Modano and Mario Lemieux have retired. One may even be dead. I don't know.
No, they're not dead.
But yeah,
they're just
hockey,
unconscious.
But for hockey, like you would have to commit to the 2 hours to sitting down, watching, and paying attention. You can't be off like a baseball game. I'll hop in the kitchen, I'll do this, and I'll come over here. I got the baseball game in the background, and you can't do that with hockey. You have to focus on what's going on, otherwise you'll be lost.
Well, I've since Mike and I became roommates when we were still in California, he got me back into wrestling. I've gotten back into more sports, especially since we moved out here and we did not take a summer hiatus. With all the things that we're sharing on Tuesdays, there's some I still don't follow as closely, but I can get you the stats and power rankings and stuff like that. And we're covering more sports, and I'm trying to learn some more with other sports that I have never been a particular follower of. But hey, learning something new.
So you do your shows on Tuesday nights?
Yes.
Tuesdays normal.
So
we did move to 6:00 to give time for TNA or NXT pay-per-views mostly. This week, I think we're going to be going at 7 because we have a little bit of a scheduling change, but we will be on the air this Tuesday. So keep an eye out on that. We're on the Casa D18 Studios, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at LBStatKid1977.
Let me find you here real quick while I've got my head up Elon Musk's hindquarters.
My Twitter is under Hathaway Loop.
And then on Instagram, I'm Statboy13.
Dory Lou.
And she's Dory Lou on Instagram. So,
So Hathaway Luke?
Hathaway Lou, L-O-U.
Hathaway L-O-U. Okay.
I think you're going to get a follow.
Dory, there we are.
There she is.
I was like Hathaway. Am I going to start following something that I don't want to follow? And what was yours, Mike?
LBStatKid1977.
1970s. Okay. LB.
And you are now followed by the RAWBall, Lou.
There
Yeah.
you are.
Gotcha.
You are up to Wayne Gretzky numbers.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, we follow everything. We start our lineup with golf and tennis. We don't really watch golf and tennis. I do occasionally watch golf, whenever it's the third or fourth round of a tournament.
Oh, there,
Tennis,
I found you. Yeah, there you are in that sweet old man. That's so nice. That's so nice. You could walk by and say hello. He looks so lonely there.
But you know, I
Sorry, Sean. I love you.
I don't watch a lot of tennis, but I keep up with it. We talk about the college stuff. College basketball's going
Don't
on.
worry. I can't stand prostate exams either.
And then when NASCAR comes up, we talk about NASCAR. And then
Yeah, you are in the heart of NASCAR country.
yes, absolutely. This is
I've known a few people that have moved to that region that weren't into NASCAR, but just because it's so big there, you get
she got
drawn
me
into it.
She got me back into NASCAR. She got me going. I mean, because we Bush bashed because Kyle Busch was the devil when it comes to NASCAR, and then she's like, oh well, I'm like, who's your driver? She's like, oh, it's number 3, and I'm like, Dale's old number, and she's like, yeah. Austin Dillon,
Austin Dillon,
Team RCR,
Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah.
Been following Richard Childress Racing for several years.
I still remember watching the race when Earnhardt bit the big one.
Yeah.
That was February of 2001. I was in 9th grade. Yeah, I still remember. I used to watch a little bit of NASCAR. I liked the races that I enjoyed watching were the short tracks like Bristol.
Mhm.
Yes.
Is it Richmond was another really short track, or was it West, or there's one in, it was Bristol. It was like half mile and a little bit shorter or a little bit bigger tracks. But I liked the races on the short tracks rather than the big like Daytona. Shorter track. It felt more like where I grew up, where there was. I grew up about, I don't know, say 10 miles away from like a county dirt track where they had races every Friday and Saturday night. And if the wind was just right on a night you had your window open, you could hear all the engines revving. And growing up near a dirt track, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for auto racing.
I remember my dad taking me to a race. It was a little ways outside of Grand Forks, North Dakota, before you hit the river and went into Minnesota. I must have been like 10, 11 years old, and I was hooked. That first race at that county track, and it was a short track, and they did a demolition derby on top of that. I was hooked.
As I've gotten older, when I do happen to catch any kind of auto racing, I'm more fascinated by what goes on during the pit stops than I am the actual race, just because the analytical stat nerd in me is thinking, okay, well, the crew that can fill it up and change tires faster and do everything, like, there's got to be something to that. It's like, a great offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounds like, from what you guys cover and what the RAWBall covers, because we basically do football, baseball, hockey,
wrestling,
cover a wide array of wrestling. You guys, I think, would be more WWE, NXT. We would cover we cover that as well, but we also cover AEW, ROH, TNA, Stardom, and New Japan.
Yeah, on our show, we briefly talk about the wrestling. It does get talked about, but with the rest of the multiverse of media, that with Jeff and Renegade and with Noah Foster and everybody else, they cover everything. They cover NXT, they cover WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan. They're doing watch-alongs left and right, and then we talk about it. We talk about all the topics at the end of the week. Open mic night. Maddie has appeared a couple times on that, and so they've got all the wrestling covered. We've got the sports covered. We mix once in a while. I'm guilty of it. I pop in on open mic night.
Yep.
They say, how was your day? I'm like, oh, it was a great day. This happened in sports. And then Renegade cuts me off a little bit. And he's like, okay, we're here to talk about wrestling. I'm like, sure, we'll talk about wrestling. Of course we will. Then at the end, I throw out a little teaser, and
we're branching out a little bit
Yeah.
this year. We're starting to do more music. We're doing a show called Into the Vault with my old guitar teacher, Dave Holland. He's a graduate from the University of Miami, has a degree in music, but just a walking music historian. But we're doing deep dives on bands.
There you go.
Nice.
And first band we're doing right now is Kiss. That's his favorite band of all time. So we've done the first episode. We were going to do the second episode last week, but he came down with the flu. So waiting on him to get healthy so we can we're dividing Kiss into 3 parts. We're looking at doing Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Frank Zappa.
And have you seen that on the RAWBall Twitter today? The little Kiss logo with "Stay tuned." That's what that was referring to.
Well, I'll be watching for that because I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's
I'll find the link to episode 1 of Kiss and I'll shoot that over to you.
Great.
awesome.
And I have a bit of background in that too. I was a DJ for about 15, 16 years up here in the Great White North.
Oh, Canada.
I did some DJ work for Teen Night at one of the big country bars in San Bernardino, which is now closed.
That's how I started. We started in 1988 doing the high school dances.
And JJ, the Renegade, he and I, JJ is a music jukebox. He would play Rock and Roll Jeopardy and just one right after the other. And then we were in college radio together. That's how we became friends and brothers. We did the college thing. He can DJ. I still believe he can DJ. I mean, he hasn't had a set of turntables in his possession for about 10, 15 years, but I do remember him actually having a set of turntables. But
they don't even use turntables anymore.
Yeah, it's those days.
I still have a turntable and vinyls downstairs, but just one turntable.
But it's not the same as putting on the headphones and actually scratching the record.
Yeah. Well, that's how we started. When we did it in high school, we had we had 2 turntables, like 2 huge boxes of 45s. That's those little small records for the young.
Yes, I have 45s, Dave.
and we have one tape deck. One of them was Bon Jovi, "Slippery When Wet," and the other one was a Canadian band called Haywire. They're from Prince Edward Island.
I still have a few cassettes.
But for the most part, we just went record for record, back and forth. But you had to know what you were doing back then.
If we ever get back to California to get our stuff out of storage, which I want to do that sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I actually have Bette Midler's The Rose on vinyl and Forks, Dog and Butterfly. I know I have at least those 2 still in storage.
And the records were always a better, more truer sound too.
Yes.
I always found
definitely. A YouTube channel you might want to check out if you haven't already is The Professor of Rock.
I think I've let me look that up. I want to say I've gazed at that one. I think. One of the segments that he does that I absolutely love is taking the top 10 from this week so many years ago and then revamping it.
Yeah, based on new top 10 based on views and all that. Yes, I have seen those. Yeah.
Yeah, but he also does the story behind this song or how this nursery rhyme ended up becoming this #1 hit with this band kind of thing.
Yeah.
See, I was never. I was a guitar player, so I tend to. I mean, yeah, I'll check out YouTube stuff on vinyl, but I tend to watch more like guitar history and kind of. I'm more like a gear nerd.
Okay.
I've got one guitar here. I've got a closet full, and some down in the rec room. I'm a guitar freak. I nerd out on that shit. It's like, what kind of pickups was he using in this guitar on this album? How did he get that sound through that amp? How did he mic it?
Yeah.
And funny Lou should say that about where the song came from, because I've always had an interest in that. Say, okay, where did these lyrics and where do these words originate from? Like,
Yeah,
why?
I love hearing stories behind the music.
So if
Great
you're
show.
interested in that, over on the YouTube, go to Behind the Vinyl.
Okay.
And it's the artist who wrote it and sang it, and they sit down in a chair. They're not long videos. They're like 4 or 5 minutes long, depending on how long the song is. But they got the song playing in the background, and they give you the story of that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Found it.
Yeah. And yes, to your earlier point, Davey, vinyl is such a better son. My partner who was passing through here, he's never sat down and listened to a record on vinyl before, and he recently just redid our whole living room and put my turntable and my stereo and amplifier and everything. I was like, okay, you're going to listen to what a record sounds like on a good amplifier and sound system. He was blown away. He was like, what? Why does it sound so much better? It's like, it just does. Wax and tape. That's how you do it.
I'm definitely going to have to check this out. Huh.
All right, Captain. I think we can call this a night. It was a great success. Thank you for having us on your show.
Absolutely.
Loved it greatly. I'm free next week if we want to do this again. We'll see where it goes. We got another weekend to go.
Yeah, we'll once we do our show, so we'll see Tuesday what the matchups look like and see what game we'll be looking at next week. But I mean, we're like we also do wrestling watch-alongs. We do we're doing all kind of stuff.
I was just going to say that too. If anybody over on
covered.
Yeah, but if you guys are ever looking for, if you're short a guy or whatever, hit us up.
You got it.
We're always up for that. So you'll get one of us.
All
I've
right.
been watching since 1980.
You got
probably longer than
beat by 10 years.
I was going to say probably longer than most people have been alive in the room, but such is life.
All right.
Hey, yeah. I'm an '87 model. I mean, I
was born in 1970.
Oh, 73.
77.
73. Oh, there we go. See, we're recruiting people back from my decade. I like this. I'm not going to be the only one anymore.
All right, Captain.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right, guys. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Bye-bye.
Right. Well, Davey, looks like we're the last two at the Alamo.
We are.
It is 10:43, and I do have to be up at 6 a.m. for work. Typically, I don't do these Sunday night streams, but I did want to watch this Lions-Rams game with everyone.
No, this is a little out of your zone.
Yeah, a little. I mean, I usually Sunday nights. I'm in bed by about 7:30 or 8 because there's a live stream YouTuber that I like to listen to on Sunday nights usually, but this was like, no, I want to watch this game with my boys. So, but yeah, usually I'm well past asleep right now. But hey, you got to get out of your comfort zone once in a while.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Davey, I will see you. What's this? Yeah, this is Sunday. Yeah, I'll see you Tuesday on the regularly scheduled programming. Anything you got going on you want to plug to the viewers?
Got the Tuesday one. I don't think there's any pay-per-views coming up this week. I think we were pay-per-viewed out this weekend.
We got the Rumble coming up. The 27th. I'll have the Brothers Law.
You will, yeah.
Here.
You will. But yeah,
which is going to be super fun. I've never had Dev down here, and it'll be cool to have them both down here in the Casa Day Cap.
So I would imagine you guys will be doing some sort of watch along for that one. But that's
Yeah, we'll be down in the rec room with the new TV and sound system for. Well, we'll be streaming, so I won't have the sound system going for it because copyright and whatnot. But yeah, we'll be doing a live stream for that one for sure. We'll set up downstairs, and I've got a sectional wraparound couch downstairs that we'll all be joining upon.
I will plug that on. Here's a nice segue on the RAWBall podcast Twitter
At
page.
RAWBall 123.
Yes, follow us if you like sports, baseball, hockey, football, wrestling of all promotions, including WWE and NXT, which is we're just.
If it happens
on
between
there,
ropes,
Humble.
typically we're going to be talking about it.
Follow us because you are going to get up-to-date, accurate information. No bullshit, no rumors.
We are not the Fox News. We are not the Newsmax. Yeah, we source our material and we don't invent it.
So if you want to be in the know and you want to follow a trusted source, we're the source to go to. So follow us, retweet us, like us. You'll be glad you did.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Maddie said about roughly an hour ago, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Don't get arrested. Don't get pulled over in Kansas. Ball out with the RAWBall podcast. Davey, the Cap, the Brothers Law, all of our guests that we have on. Hopefully, in the next week, once Dave Holland recovers, we'll get to part 2 of Kiss on our new series Into the Vault for all of you music lovers out there.
Yeah. And watch Twitter for that because I will be promoting that once we get dates on it.
All right. Well, Davey, thank you very much for. Go ahead.
With some Kiss songs along the way to help promote it.
Well, we started in 1973 with the first album. We got through The Elder, which was 1982, 83. We're about to take off the face paint.
Paintless era.
Yeah, which was 84 to 95, 96, whenever the reunion tour started, that 12, 13-year period, which some people just shat upon that era. And there are some things in that era to shat upon, but there are some really good Kiss tunes and albums during that era. And it's really cool once you get to the early 90s, which, and I'll go into this a little bit deeper detail. As happy as I am that the reunion in full makeup with Ace and Peter took place, they seem like they have just kind of started to find their groove after about 8 years without the makeup when the reunion took place. And it's always been a big what if in my brain. Had the reunion not come about, that opportunity, what would they have done in the next 6-8 years? Because it seemed like they were just really starting to find their footing in the makeupless era. Because 91, 92, they put out a really great album, and they were competing with the grunge movement, with Nirvana, with Pearl Jam. You had Metallica breaking big, and they were holding their own with these modern bands I love all those bands. Soundgarden, they were holding their own with them.
It was a different era of music in the 90s than what Kiss was.
Especially the early 90s was.
A lot of bands ran into that. Some of them survived, some didn't. Kiss did. Kiss was one that did.
Yeah,
so they weathered the grunge storm and came out the other end.
There were, and I like a lot of grunge. There's some I don't like, but I like a lot of it. And there was, I'm sure someone has said, and I've read Heavier Than Heaven, the biography of Kurt Cobain, which is really great. The same author who wrote Room Full of Mirrors, a biography on Jimi Hendrix, another great book. And it covered Nirvana really well, but if anyone knows it, hit me up in my DMs at the Captain 87 on Twitter on a book about the grunge era, and just it was a unique, cool era. It wasn't the best era ever, but there was a lot of cool shit happening. The music industry was changing big time, and then it was going to change really big about 10 years later. So it was like the final kind of big death knell of rock and roll, for lack of a better phrase, being big, because then in the mid to late 90s, you got the boy bands and pop, and then Napster. And everything.
That's been going on for decades. 50s were not like the 60s. 60s were definitely not like the 70s. 80s had a whole vibe all to its own. So every decade, you're going to get something different, right?
Well, it's meant like the record industry as a whole was how music is consumed. We in the late 90s and the 2000s when we crossed over from CDs, albums into digital, and from then it's been a whole different thing. I mean, vinyl has made a wonderful comeback. I'm glad, because I love vinyl, as we just discussed. But it's a whole different world now for how music is consumed versus what it was 20 years ago. Obviously, the music's always going to be changing, and that's a great thing. But how it's consumed really took a big turn once we hit the 21st century, as far as how it's consumed and enjoyed.
And like I was saying, that eats a lot of bands up and spits them out, and they never return.
Yeah.
But to the bands that have been able to weather that storm and stay together for, even 20 years, 25 years, if you hit that mark as a consistent unit, as a band, you are doing something. Like,
you're doing something right.
That is both good quality work and evolving at the same time in what you're doing. There's not many, that have stood that test of time, right?
Very, very few. And
well, U2 would be one. I mean, they've been around since about 80. I mean, that's
Metallica would be another one.
Would be another one. AC/DC is one. Kiss, obviously, who we just spoke on.
AC/DC, Kiss, Rush. You could throw Rush in there up until Neil Peart's unfortunate
Rush had a good long run
departure. See other bands that kept it. Aerosmith to a degree. Bon Jovi kept it going,
although they tailed off quite a bit.
Yeah. The Rolling Stones, my favorite band of all time. I think they're
they tailed off as far as putting out new stuff.
The quality of their original music, but quality and quantity has gone down. But given their ages, I'm not expecting. But they've managed to weather the storm, and you still only have 2 of the original members in the band, and I think only 3 still alive. The original bass player is still alive, but he's not in the band anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like, to have as much as the original lineup as possible. As time goes on, that becomes impossible because of time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
one band that
go ahead
never gets mentioned, but they've lasted. They fit this criteria. The Matchbox 20. They've been around since the early 90s.
Yep, I'm a big. Well, I haven't heard. I mean, I haven't heard pretty much any of their stuff that they've put out.
Same lineup, same guys. 25 years. I mean, that's a testament to a lot of things, right? Like
their first 3 albums, I absolutely loved them.
But they've stayed consistent through. Like, they haven't really tailed off. Even they just put a disc out in the summer there. It was good.
Well, not as mainstream, but Fish, they still have the same 4 members, and they started in 86, 87, and they're still doing sellout tours. They're more in the Grateful Dead motif, where albums weren't but the fact they still have the same 4 original members and are still doing it.
And there was a band up here that lead singer just passed away. I believe we were doing a broadcast. It was on Sunday. April Wine, Miles Goodwin. 50 years they went. 50.
Wow.
And Miles was the lead singer for the entirety of that. Pretty much the same lineup. Jerry Mercer on drums, Brian Greenway on guitar. Like a lot of the same lineup throughout that, right?
Well, I'll throw another two out there. Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
They're still there. Actually, I just saw a new set of tour dates for them. ZZ Top until Dusty Hill died. Same three guys from the 70s through 20. When did Dusty die? Like 2 years ago. So that's a hell of a long run.
I think it would be fairly safe to put Van Halen in that conversation.
Yeah,
they started in the mid late 70s.
Yeah, well, actually, Gene Simmons from Kiss, he discovered them and he recorded their demo, he produced their original demo that they were shopping to record labels, and I may get the story a little bit off here, but from what I understand, Gene said, "Hey, let me see if give me however much time." He's like 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever, and I'll get you guys a record deal. And different labels were passing on him, and he had a tour coming up with Kiss, and he said, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take a penny off of this. Here's the master tapes. If you guys can find a deal, go for it. I've got other commitments I have to do. And then they wound up getting a record deal not long after that. But yeah, considering that was when did the first Van Halen album come out? Was it 76, 77?
It was around there, yeah. 77, I think it was.
70, yeah, that's right, 77. And their first hit wasn't even an original. It was Louie Louie.
But I mean, they definitely belong on that list. The only thing with them is they found out third time is in fact not the charm.
Yeah. Well,
they went. I mean, they went from Dave,
yeah,
which had a very distinct style, to Sammy Hagar, which had a very distinct style, completely separate from what Dave was doing. So, but it was seamless. I remember I would have been 16 at the time when Sammy put out the first disc with them, or first tape. I played that to death while in high school, like to death. And then that imploded on itself. And then they tried Gary Cherone, which didn't work. And then they tried Dave again, which didn't work. So they kind of pettered out towards the end. But right up until when Sammy's with them, they were putting out solid stuff.
Another couple of bands you could throw out from that era, Motley Crue, lasted for a good long while with essentially the same lineup, and the Chili Peppers, minus you had the original guitar player who unfortunately died of a heroin overdose. Then they got Frusciante, and they replaced a drummer. But apart from that, it's you go back to like 1991, or even before that. Essentially, almost the same lineup for the entire time, and they've managed to ride from vinyl to tape to CD to streaming back to vinyl.
Yeah, they ran the gambit of how you're producing and putting music out there. So yeah, there would be another one. And not all these bands have to be your cup of tea, as they say.
Well, no, we're talking about longevity.
In order to recognize what they've been able to accomplish, there's a difference. Liking them and recognizing them for their accomplishments. Not always the same category.
I mean, yeah, there's plenty of bands that will never occupy a space in my wheelhouse, but that doesn't mean I can't recognize. Hey, you've been doing something.
Well, like AC/DC, like they have a space in mind, but they've essentially been putting out the same stuff for 40 plus years.
Yeah, and they've done it.
It's just AC/DC, and it works.
Yeah, but the thing is to do what they do.
There.
Yeah, well, yeah,
we'll just kind of forget that happened.
Yeah, Well, Brian Johnson is back.
He is, yeah.
Apparently, he. Well, I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of a throat. I don't know if it was throat cancer, something with it. Something that forced him to, step back. But apparently, all is good health wise. Knock on wood. And I like Brian Johnson. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the albums so much they did with Brian. I'm more of a Bon Scott era guy. But
the transition was seamless.
Yeah, I mean
you are not going to get someone sounding as close to Bon as you wouldn't find anyone closer than Brian.
Well, no, Bon had
impossible.
Bon had. I don't necessarily want to say a vocal range so much as he just
a very distinct sounding voice.
Yes,
that as soon as he uttered any kind of a note into a microphone, you knew, it was Bon Scott, right? And that grabs you right away. If you like that style, you're like, ooh, Bon Scott, ACD, like right away, right? Brian Johnson has that.
And to go even further back, Paul McCartney is still selling out arenas between Beatles, Wings, solo era. Ringo Starr, I believe, is touring again, and he's 80 years old. Unfortunately, George met his end, and John met a violent end, unfortunately. But the fact that the Beatles started 1960, and Paul McCartney is still, all these years later, still doing 3-hour arena shows.
And some people consider Paul and the Beatles to be the greatest. Music is subjective, right? Everybody's going to like different things.
Well, there's no goat in baseball. There's no goat in music.
No, everybody's going to have something different. Like, to me, right, for the longevity, for the just massive amount of quality of work that they have put out in all different types of genres, Robert Plant.
Yep.
There's no one touching him. Between the stuff he did with Zeppelin and then into a solo career into the 80s, and then when he had enough of that, it's like, okay, let's go do something different. And he just did like so much experimental work. Like,
he never rested on his laurels.
No, that's why he never went. That's why he never wanted to go back with Zeppelin. He goes, "That's in the rearview mirror. I've done it.
Yeah,
why do I want to go back?"
And again, I love Zeppelin. They're probably, in my opinion, Zeppelin is the greatest band of all time. They're not my favorite. The Stones are my favorite band of all time. I think Zeppelin's the greatest band of all time. But having said that, Plant having the artistic courage to say, okay, I've done that. I'm going to move forward and do other stuff. And okay, yeah, he still does half a dozen Zeppelin songs at his concerts. Whoop-de-doo. He helped write them. Why not?
He does do them. But when you hear them at his concerts, and I've seen quite a few Robert Plant concerts, right? They're very scaled back, small shows. They're not the big, elaborate arena shows.
No.
And the songs that he does do from Zeppelin, they're not done as Zeppelin songs. They're completely reworked, redone.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, there's a whole new take on them, right? So even at that, he's still reinventing things going forward.
Well, even the album he did with Alison Krauss.
Did 2 of them with Alison.
Well, the album they did was great, but there was they did a live TV show where they did a couple of Zeppelin songs together.
And completely reworked.
And yeah, it completely redid them.
Levy. Alison Krauss did that one. Robert was just in the background sitting on a chair fucking strumming on a guitar.
And they also did I think Black Dog together.
They did,
And I loved, I still go back and listen to that 20 years later, and that was a redone version of a song 30 years before that. And I love
You could sit
because
down and listen to.
yeah,
Yeah.
they broke
And
it
they're
down even
completely
more.
different. They're completely different from each other, but they're the same song, same lyrics, and same lyrics of the song. But
I love it when artists take songs that we are familiar with and know of, but they strip them down even further to it's like Johnny Cash, the tail end of his career,
hurts.
where he took songs and just stripped them down to their bare bones. And a song that is written, a very well written song, a greatly written song is going to hold up no matter what style, genre, whatever it's done in. You can take Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I'm just going to throw that one out there. That song was done on the soundtrack to Wizard of Oz in 1939. That song has been redone and redone, and you could still take it and do different things with it today. And in the right hands and the right voice, it's still going to be good. And that's the definition of a great piece of music. It can be done umpteen hundred ways and still be great.
Another artist that has that ability is Peter Gabriel.
Yep. Well, it is after 11 o'clock. I know we ran a little bit over here, but I have got to get to bed because I've got to deal with hordes of
pardon the pun,
customers.
but we rambled on.
Yeah, we went Broadway plus.
We were talking about Zeppelin and stuff. So.
Hey, I get into music, and it's been my passion since I was like 7, 8 years old. It's been baseball and music. So music, it's tough for me to walk away.
Well, when you and Dave do the Led Zeppelin one, because that's more in my wheelhouse than Kiss is, you hit me up.
All right. Yeah, I know that one's definitely on our list. Kiss, Sabbath, Zeppelin, and Zappa are the 4 big ones we want to get to. But yeah, definitely we'll be hitting you up on that one. All right. Dave, RAWBall, everybody take care. You got a little bonus tonight, but Cap's got to sign off and get some sleep. Y'all take care. We'll see you Tuesday at the normal time, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Davey, 4:30 Maddie. Past that, I see Pacific. I don't think we have anybody on Pacific time, but in any event, thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all Tuesday. Take care of yourselves. Hit us all up. RAWBall podcast at RAWBall123. We're the best in the biz. Take care. Have a good week.
See you guys.